Good afternoon, Browns fans. Another beautiful day here in Berea. Nathan Zagura alongside Browns legend Josh Cribbs. This is Browns Live Training Camp presented by SNAPPLE. Josh, we got to start real quickly. Just get into it. I know you're going to be bummed about it. We're going to even just hop right into this. Cover Johnson. I'm sure you've seen the news. Lacerated liver. He is in the hospital, suffered in yesterday's practice. The injury bug continues to hit this team.
Yes, and I just was talking about him earlier on the show, the Cribs and the CLE, of how well he was doing throughout training camp and how I was raving about this secondary group. The injuries that happen and the unfortunate incidents, plague certain teams. But I think that this team has a significant amount of depth to overcome it. You don't like to see this early in camp and this early in the season, but it's very unfortunate. I was very sad to hear that about Cover Johnson.
I know, the first guy with a nickname, and unfortunately he's down. And for the Browns now, that's 3 starters in 3 consecutive days. Nick Chubb leaving the first practice session with a concussion, Mack Wilson with the knee injury 2 days ago, and yesterday Johnson going down, and we certainly wish him a speedy recovery. We'll tell you a little bit later on here in this opening segment what it means, but we have a big show lined up for you here on Browns Live Training Camp presented by SNAPPLE. It is the 4th straight day of Browns training camp practice in Berea. You see Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham there. They will both be putting in a full day's work today. Myles Garrett will be back in shells and doing some individual drills today per head coach Kevin Stefanski, but it'll be good to see them out there. No pads today. That's part of the rules that were agreed upon for this return. You can't have pads 4 straight days, but they will be in shells and we'll be getting in some good work, and we'll have all that coverage for you from the field once they get underway. Today we will spotlight the special teams units under the tutelage, the watchful eye of Mike Prefer, something obviously you know very well. You see kicker Austin Seibert there. He and the Scottish Hammer, Charlie Hewlett, the 3 specialists, all back this year. And we'll really take a deep dive in and talk about the return game, because when you have an expert, one of the best to ever do it, you certainly tap in to that knowledge. CBS NFL analyst Pete Prisco will join us for the national perspective. We'll have one of our specialists live on set after the show. And, of course, get your fan questions in using the hashtag Browns Live. It is Browns Live Training Camp presented by SNAPPLE. As you see the team going through some of their early drills here, getting ready. Denzel Ward, Odell Beckham Jr., who were not full participants yesterday as part of the plan, according to head coach Ken Stefanski, give their stars a little rest. They're both back out there and ready to go. No injury concerns. We saw Odell walk off yesterday. He's fine.
Yes, and when you see the guys out here with no pads on, again, it's back to that mental part of the game. And anytime we didn't wear pads, it was mostly towards the end of the week, towards a Friday when you know you're about to have a game coming up. But this is towards the end of the week. Again, they're following the rules and the protocols of the NFL. You want to have a fast day. When we didn't wear pads, we call it Fast Fridays because we didn't wear pads usually on Friday. So you want to see a strong mental game from these athletes, but you want to see them moving around fast and getting where they're supposed to get.
Absolutely. Speaking of where we're supposed to get, let's get into today's news update brought to you by Carrier. Day 3 here in Berea was in the pads. It was the 3rd straight day in pads, and it was a day of the defense, Josh.
Yes, and there were some good things and some bright spots in the offensive attack, but again, the defense has shown a lot of promise with the up front and the defensive line. That linebacker core is showing who they are despite some injuries there. You had B.J. Goodson stepping in and doing a great thing, filling in, next man up mentality. And again, I know we talked about Cover Johnson, but that secondary, they are ones to contend with. Sandeo had a heck of a day. Delpit had a heck of a day. And you had Money Mitch getting multiple asterisks by me. I was selecting his name like, man, put in so many asterisks of big play, pass breakup after pass breakup from this secondary group.
As if on demand, Money Mitch with a pass breakup on your screen and a nice little kick celebrating it. But yeah, the defense did a great job up front against the run. Sione Takitaki, you mentioned those linebackers. He had a good day. Number 97, Porter Augustin, a former 5-star recruit who joined our team late last year, applying a lot of pressure on the quarterback as well. But yeah, it was a day for the Browns defense, and we've kind of seen, look, it went defense day 1, the offense definitely bounced back day 2, defense day 3, and we'd like to see that offense bounce back here on day 4. But you mentioned as we move along in our news updates brought to you by Carrier, there were some good things on offense, and it's centered around, I think, a couple of rookies, Harrison Bryant and Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Definitely, and you see them during the red zone period. Donovan Peoples, he was getting in the red zone with the touches, especially the last play of the series there, and he's showing a lot of promise. And a lot you guys don't really get to see the special teams period and those guys catching punts. He's doing really good. I don't see many drop balls from the rookies, from the young guys, so that tells me that they're competing. They know what's at stake. They know how important this training camp is, and they're making the most of their opportunities.
And you mentioned that touchdown, Donovan Peoples-Jones. That was him working with the starters against Greedy Williams there, with Baker Mayfield rolling right, finding Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's having a nice start. Harrison Bryant as well. You saw that diving catch earlier, and Bryant here in the 7-on-7 red zone period. He was the guy that made the plays, and unfortunately, that one right there, believe it or not, that's the play where Kevin Johnson got hurt. You saw him a little shaken up after that. It's just something just that simple. A little tackle. Bryant kind of rolled onto him, and that's where the injury was suffered by Cover Johnson. It just goes to show how tough this game is and how tough it is to stay healthy. That didn't look like much,
right?
And it had a major impact on Kevin.
Yeah, I hope he has a speedy recovery. And again, those type of injuries, being though that it's internal, it's not really nothing that you can bandage up. It's nothing that you can kind of work through and lift some weights and try to get stronger. I believe it was a lacerated liver.
Yes.
And time off will help that. And in those situations, again, next man up, and that group is already strong. So I hope this missed time from him doesn't set him back.
We certainly hope it doesn't. We wish him a very speedy recovery. Again, he's in the hospital now. He's doing well, under observation, according to the team issued statement earlier today. So Kevin Johnson, get well soon. Yesterday, again, we mentioned the defense, but it was about the DBs. And really, you talked about Money Mitch. And MJ Stewart now, a guy we talked about a couple days ago, he's going to have an opportunity to really step up as well as that nickel corner. And, Josh, I do want to ask you, though, what are you expecting to see? Does MJ Stewart just slide into that nickel role? He's been playing there. Or do you try to find out a way to get Denzel Greedy and Money Mitch all on the field together, something we have not seen yet, because it would require probably Denzel to move inside in those nickel looks?
So anything, we're looking at a season unlike any other right here. So because we're going through the situation that we are, and this matters extensively to the team and getting their main guys work, you're going to see these young guys have to struggle to get on the football field. You're going to see the coaches want to see who they can go out there and play day one. So you might see some of the starters out there together, and Money Mitch and Greedy and all those guys on the field at the same time, because this is the preseason. This is essentially the coaches trying to see what they have, what are their base packages, who can work for them, who can play, who can be consistent. Those young guys just got to get their reps when they can and when they can make big plays.
Absolutely, and Andrew Sendejo made a lot of big plays yesterday. You see them there breaking up the pass to Austin Hooper in the end zone. Also had an interception off of Baker Mayfield. So a good day for the DBs. And by the way, Grant Delpit was flying around everywhere. He looks good in pads, and the more I see of Grant Delpit, there was one yesterday where he came in on a blitz and absolutely put the DB on his posterior. He is a physical guy.
He is, and if you just look at that battle right there, and I feel like those guys both will make the team and will do pretty good for this Browns defense. When you talk about Sendejo and you talk about Delpit, those guys know what they're doing on the football, and it's showing. They're having consistent plays. They're making plays. That's why I keep talking and raving about this secondary group. If you look at the DBs and you look at the safeties, this is a good group, unlike any other in a few years around here.
I talked with Grant earlier today, actually, and he said, yeah, I'm getting more work at strong safety, but I can do strong, I can do free. I said, how are you feeling mentally? Do you feel like you're able to play fast? And he goes, that's the only way I play. So Grant Delpit off to a good start here. Listen, we want to give you guys national perspectives on this team. We had a chance to catch up earlier today with CBS's NFL analyst Pete Prisco, and he joins us now for the national perspective, brought to you by Global Transport. All right, Pete, I know you're a big fan of the Browns' new head coach, Kevin Stefanski. Last year, we know didn't go the way we wanted to, but now it's Stefanski in charge. What's your outlook for this Browns team in 2020?
I like Kevin Stefanski a lot. I think he's going to bring a discipline that the team needed. I think he's one of those guys, he's into analytics, but that's not who he is. I've told you this before. He's a Philly guy. He's got that Philly edge to him, which you like. And I think he's going to clean up that locker room and bring discipline back to a team that lacked it last year. So first and foremost, I think it's going to be really good for Baker Mayfield. I think that's the relationship coach-quarterback that you have to really get through to the quarterback and let him understand that there's a lot more to play in the position than just going out there and throwing the football. So I think Kevin Stefanski will be very good with him.
When you look at this team, you mentioned Baker Mayfield. You look at the offseason, they bring in 2 tackles. They bring in a 2-time Pro Bowl tight end. You've got Chubb and Hunt in the backfield, Odell and Jarvis out wide. It's there for Baker Mayfield. This is a big year for the quarterback in year 3.
No question about it. And all the talk that Baker Mayfield, regressed to the point where can he get it back is way overblown in my mind. Now when you have 2 tackles that are going to be clear upgrades from what they have, that should settle him down and make him better. I don't buy all this talk that, the first year was an aberration and last year was more like who he is. I think it's somewhere probably in between, but he's going to be a good quarterback in this league. And this is the year to show people, hey, look, I've dedicated myself to the craft. I have a new coach that's going to help me, and I'm going to go out there and throw the football around and have some fun.
Defensively, they built it on up front and on the back. And obviously, you got Myles Garrett, you've got Vernon. They bring in Claiborne, the veteran, Sheldon Richardson, and Ogunjobi. And then on the back end, bring in a couple former first-rounders and Kevin Johnson and Carl Joseph. They draft Delpit. But there's a lot of question about the linebackers. And you're somebody who I always love picking your brain about. You were kind of ahead of the curve on running backs. I remember being down there at that Super Bowl with you in New Orleans and just the way that they're viewed in the NFL. Are we seeing something similar happen with kind of that off-ball linebacker position in this league?
Yeah, you still got to have a guy that can, play on first and second down and thump, but he's also got to be able to run. You have to be able to get guys who can cover. And I always go back to Seattle. Bobby Wagner, he's the prototype. Luke Kuechly, when he was in Carolina, they could stay on the field and cover people. You have to have that guy because the game is an air game. It's been spread out. So some people, though, do think that we might start moving more back to the run game because teams have become small and fast on defense, and therefore you can pound them a little bit. And I think that's where that zone scheme comes into play. That's where San Francisco, look what they did to Green Bay last year. Green Bay was a smallish defense and played well during the season and then got to the postseason and they got run on. And I think that's the problem when you have small linebackers and small interior people, that people will pound you a little bit.
Pete, I just want to have you take a step back, look at the whole league. We're talking a lot about the Browns, but this is obviously a very unique offseason. Teams like the Browns with new coaches, new schemes, they've got to get a lot in a very short period of time. What do you see the early season being like around the league this year?
Most people will say that the offenses will be far behind. What I think they'll do is they'll put in about 70% of their playbook instead of putting all of it in and kind of focus on that. As the season moves along, you might add things and get to it at the end of the year. But I also believe that without tackling in preseason, and some teams are going to tackle in camp, but you can't really learn to be a good tackling team unless you tackle. Sure. And so, there's always this theory early in the season that defenses are sloppy because they don't tackle, and this year will be even worse. So I think what you're going to see, ball out, receiver catch it, big play. I think you're going to see a lot of big plays early in the season, which might mean there might be more scoring, even though traditionally you would say the offenses are behind. You can put in your offenses virtually. You can get to that. And a lot of these teams have put in a lot of the offense. Now they're starting to run it. But learning how to tackle takes angles. You have to understand angles and speed of the game. And for that reason, I think you're going to see ball out, big play, a lot of big runs. I think early in the season, you're going to see a lot of points.
The great Pete Prisco, our guest. Thanks so much, Pete.
I think a lot of big runs and big plays sets up well for our offense. You're taking a look at some of the Browns' offensive linemen there. We can tell you Jack Conklin, the right tackle, the Browns' big free agent signing, not on the practice field so far today. We will update you on that as more information becomes available. Not sure why Conklin not out there, but Chris Hubbard, who started every game for you the last 2 seasons at right tackle, would be your star, would be the next guy up there working with that team. So it's nice to have somebody who has started basically 29 games over the last 2 years for you at right tackle as the next guy up. Although I'm getting a little tired, or a little, not tired of it, but I'm not happy about having to talk about the next guy up at so many places, Josh.
At the same time, you look at this team, and we're kind of stacked. Unlike any time before when you have depth after depth, you have talent at each level of guys who've been there and done it. At the linebacker position, you've seen B.J. Goodson hop in and be able to perform at a high level, which you love. And then you just mentioned it. Chris Hubbard can come in. He's done it before. And he's versatile. He can move side to side along that line if necessary. And you look at the wide receiver position, the same thing, and the DBs and the safeties. So this team has depth. I think at certain positions, it's been begging the question. It's out there in the media, and it's out there on making articles and everything about the going out and trying to get another linebacker to help fill some voids that may come up in the future.
Well, we know Andrew Berry and his staff always looking to improve this roster at every position constantly. It's a little bit different this year. You don't have that preseason tape to be looking at that you would have had in years past, but the Browns feel confident in what they have here. Again, as we get information, if it becomes available on Jack Conklin, we'll pass that on to you on Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple. New this year, Browns fans across Ohio will have a special opportunity to purchase 50-50 raffle tickets during the 2020 Cleveland Browns training camp. Each ticket will provide a chance to win half of the raffle's net proceeds. And we're just getting going. And I'll tell you right now, it's over $6,000 the pot, and that's going to go up and up and up. And remember, not only do you have a chance to win half of the raffle's net proceeds, the other half is going to benefit the Stay in the Game, Keep Learning Every Day Network and Shoes and Clothes for Kids, a Cleveland-based nonprofit organization. Some exclusions do apply. The current jackpot, as I said, over $6,000 and climbing. So don't miss out. For more information on how to purchase a raffle ticket, visit Browns5050.com. You see the website on your screen there or the Browns mobile app. We'll be back with more as this team starts to get into practice and a look at the specialists, a core known very, very well by my co-host, Browns legendary frankly, NFL legendary special teams performer, Josh Cribbs, when Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple returns.
Snapple apple tastes like apple.
And we dance the same too. And one, and two, and shake down stone. Put it in the basket.
Now let's cobbler.
And cobbler. And cobbler.
Tastes just like fruit, but Snapple. Tastes like a perfect peach. It keeps on peaching. Tastes just like fruit, but Snapple.
Hi, my name is Kyle, and I'm a pharmacist at Discount Drug Mart, but that's not all I am. I'm a daughter, a wife, and a mother. I'm your neighbor, part of the community just like you. Drug Mart is part of the community too. They have been for more than 50 years. Now, more than ever in these challenging times, your neighborhood Drug Mart pharmacy, all of us, are here to help you. You can rely on us to go the extra mile, whatever you need, every time. I know in my heart that I can lean on my neighbors, and you can lean on Discount Drug Mart.
Okay, eyes on me. First, we're gonna start Ohio's 529 plan. Tax-free, baby. Pretty soon, we've got another base hit to right field. Oh, but let's say one of us gets a promotion. Oh, now we're at the 30. We're at the 40. With time running down on the clock, we get a grandparent assist, and it's go!
Ohio's 529 plan is how you win at college savings. Learn more at collegeadvantage.com.
New this year, Browns fans all across Ohio will have a special opportunity to purchase 50-50 raffle tickets during the 2020 Cleveland Browns training camp. Each ticket will provide a chance to win half of the raffle's net proceeds, the other half benefiting the Stay in the Game Network and Shoes and Clothes for Kids, a Cleveland-based nonprofit organization. Some exclusions apply. For more information and to purchase a raffle ticket, visit Browns5050.com. That's Browns5050.com or the Browns mobile app.
Just got my new jersey from the Browns.
And it looks like we're going a little bit more traditional this year. All work. Heck yeah.
Well, I like the white one. Back to the good old days.
Welcome back to Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple. Nathan Zagura alongside Josh Cribbs as we take a look at the specialists and the special teams. And we're going to go in depth in today's position spotlight, looking at those specialists, brought to you by Pilot Flying J. And Josh, we hear coaches talk all the time. It's about all three phases, and this is one of those three, and a very important one. We got everybody returning. Austin Seibert, he is your kicker. You take a look at him there working on his technique. You've got Charlie Hewlett, your long snapper, entering his 6th season as the Browns long snapper who's never missed a game in his career. And the Scottish Hammer, your punter. We talked about what a great rookie season he had. Same with Seibert. How good is it to have that kind of continuity?
It's awesome. And when you look at all three of them, your punter, your kicker, and your long snapper, they have to have and boast consistency. Not just consistency with just, being healthy. We don't care about that. We want them to make the punts they have to make inside the 20. That's what the punters like to do. Punts inside the 20. Kickers with Seibert, he has to have a high percentage of kicks made. The attempts that you make, that's why we called the last person that wore this number Old Faithful. The percentage has to be high. You don't want to have to watch the kicker kick and kind of, cross your fingers. You want to be able to say, okay, let me get ready for offensive defense. He's going to make that play. And then when it comes down to Charlie, you have to be 100%. It's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Consistency is what all three of these guys boast.
There's no doubt. He talked about Austin Seibert, the 5th-round pick of the Browns last season, and he came in and he made 25 of his 29 field goal attempts, including a perfect 15 of 15 from inside of 40 yards. Now, extra points, 30 of 35 last year. And you've talked about all the time on the show how the extra point is no longer that chip shot. They moved it back to the 15, about a 33-yard field goal, and that's what Seibert wants to get more consistent on. He's doing a cool drill right here where he's actually kicking it from one corner of the end zone, trying to kick it to the other straight down the line, as we see Mr. Hewlett there looking jacked, number 47. There he is, Charlie Hewlett, our long snapper. But you have that battery, so the timing is now something. Listen, Scottish Hammer had never held before last year.
Right, and you'll look at their warm-up protocols, and if you ever had a chance to come to a game early and sit in the stadium, the kickers, they'll just stand back and kick the ball without taking a run. They do certain things, and each of them have their own routines that they have to get themselves prepared. They'll come out here a whole lot earlier than everyone else to make sure their legs are better, are loose, so they won't have any injuries, because that's all they use, their foot. That's their money.
That is his money, and you saw Charlie Hewlett there. You mentioned consistency, like I said before. Entering his 6th season, he's never missed a game for the Cleveland Browns. Now let's talk about the returners, because this is the one area. The Browns are one of the best coverage teams. You think about guys like Tavier Thomas and Tay Davis and Kaderil Hodge, who are a huge part of the Browns coverage teams a year ago, and I bet Jacob Phillips and Grant Delpit, some of the rookies, are going to add their names to that list this season. The Browns were excellent there as the ball comes over here, almost over the red line, close here to our set, as we see Charlie chasing after it. But now we're going to take a look at the returners. That's what Mike Prefer said. We want to improve. We want to be more explosive. And it starts with the two guys you just saw on your screen, number 11, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and number 19, JoJo Natson.
So when you're talking about them wanting to be more excited about this special teams unit, they have to go to the returners. And you talk about Hilliard and D. Ernest being kind of thrust into the return situation. That's what, if you look at that battle that's going on, that Hilliard Dontrell has over D. Ernest is returning, being able to catch punts and return kickoffs. But JoJo Natson and Peoples is what this team is moving towards. Those are the prototype for what it is to be a returner, not just in the NFL, but on this team. It's what this team needs to give them that edge, that field position. No, we don't just want to take it at the 25. We want to command the field position. We want to challenge teams and make them have to run down in the field and cover punts and kickoffs. JoJo Natson, and led by Peoples as well.
And JoJo Natson has been the returner for the last 2 seasons for the Los Angeles Rams, averaging about 24 yards per kick return and averaging about over 10 yards, really almost 11 yards per punt return for the Rams. And he was their return of the year. They went to the Super Bowl when they faced the New England Patriots. As for Peoples-Jones, freshman All-American at Michigan as a returner, 2 punt return touchdowns in his career there. And they're different guys. JoJo Natson, small, quick. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 6'2", big, strong, fast as well.
And when you're talking about both of them, okay, the more you can do. I was a gunner on this team. I ran down on kickoffs. I did punt returns, kickoffs, kick coverage, and I was able to go out there also on a field goal block. So you're talking about the more you do, which one of these athletes do you have within these two guys that can do more? And my bet is Peoples-Jones because he's a bigger body. He's probably faster, being as though his size, not faster, I meant stronger, and he's be able to use more. You can use him around the field. He'll probably line up at gunner because they'll have to play him on Sundays. He'll have to line up at kickoff cover. He's a bigger body. He's a 1 or 2 running down the field to make a play. Not so much when you're talking about JoJo Natson because he's a smaller frame, and those bigger returners will have an opportunity to run over him. So when you're looking at these two, who can play more for this team? Who can help out this team better? JoJo Natson may be the shiftier punt returner, your prototype punt returner, but he's not the 1 or 2 or 3 wide receiver at this time. So my bet right now is Donovan Peoples is in the lead in this race.
Donovan Peoples-Jones has size that you did, and as you said, sometimes that's what you need, that strength to get through those arm tackles, whereas JoJo a little smaller, a little shiftier, a little quicker, and sometimes you have to imagine can kind of hide behind the blockers and be a little bit difficult for the defense to see.
Definitely, and I didn't, it's no shade at JoJo Natson about being the 1 or 2 number in receiving. He can develop in that. Again, injuries happen, people's spots are taken, but again, what you see right here on the field, this training camp, this essentially is preseason. So if you see a guy like Peoples catching touchdowns and catching a lot of passes, the coaches may like him because he's taking reps. And then you see the 1 or 2 quarterback going to him. So you'll see the rate of passes at which who receives more passes. That'll let you know. And that's a telltale sign of reps. It's a telltale sign of the quarterbacks liking them.
All right, Josh, we got to go. We have you here. We need to pick your brain. And today's Football 101 brought to you by Ohio Cat. We're going to take a look at just what makes a good kick return. And so, Josh, we're going to run some film here. I'm going to turn it all over to you.
Do it.
You are the expert. Let's go ahead and see what you think. Oh, we're going way back. Who is that on the other side of this?
Wow, this is a pleasant surprise. Listen, look at here. I like going straight downhill. I was supposed to keep running right here and take that lane, but I seen something else. It's vision. Notice how I don't really stop to juke or nothing. I'm going straight downhill. I don't try to stop my feet and patter. Everything has to happen hitting the hole, making any type of moves have to happen on the run. That's why I was able to have success in this area of the game.
Goodness gracious on that one. He broke about 4 tackles, and as you like to say, you caught it moving forward, and that's something I noticed. There you go. You got your feet set, and out you come.
Watch how I follow the running back, and then I make one cut, and I'm gone. One cut, I see the vision. It's all downhill movements. It's no stopping of my feet. The holes are open just an inch for a second. You have to hit it and go. And when you do, and your whole team believes in you, things happen like that. I'm getting caught up watching it.
You should be. That's a sight for sore eyes, and I'm sure that was a lot of fun for you to relive. By the way, poor number 96 right there. You just broke his will. He was within about 3 yards of you, and then he was about 30 yards behind you by the time you scored. But those are the game-changing plays, and you had 11 of them. Not only you brought him back to house as a kick returner, here's a punt return, Josh.
Yes, and this is the earlier days, and you see going north and south first before you make any lateral moves. The defense coming down want the returner to go lateral, but see how I threatened them vertical first, then I was able to hit the outside. And again, the whole team counts here. Everybody have to be rooting for you to score and have your name in the paper over there. So it's a lot of selflessness that went on the field for your special teams to have success.
Yeah, and you're right about that. You need 11 guys working together, the other 10 setting you up, and then obviously sometimes when you saw the first one against Kansas City, that's just unbelievable ability and vision to cut across, break the tackles, etc. But you were a quarterback in college. So you weren't returning kicks. Had you returned kicks at any point prior to the NFL?
Not until I got to the NFL, and I think that's what kind of helped me, propel me, because other guys come in with other mentalities, other coaching points that they may have learned at the college level, and college special teams is so different than the NFL, and I came with a blank slate, a clean palette for the coach to be able to input all that knowledge into my empty cup.
Well, listen, not everybody can do what he did. But you listen, you heard him. For the young returners out there, if I'm taking it away, you tell me if I got it right. Start off going north and south.
North and south.
Use your vision and then find the lanes.
Yes, and we'll talk about that as we go more. But north and south makes all the defenders patter their feet. Then you're allowed to use your speed, one cut, make a move to the outside. use a stiff arm if necessary. Once you see the kicker, you should be gone.
Is there like a club that you and Dante Hall and Devin Hester, do you guys ever talk about the good old days? Because I don't think you're ever going to see an era where you've got three guys like that who all were electric.
Yes, and there are other talented guys around the league, but the coaching has to be excited. They have to be excited to put those units on the field and not be nervous to say, all right, we forget the 25. We want more than that. If I was in the league right now, my whole unit be like, man, we can get past the 25. Let's do it, and we have to convince the coach, and from there on, it's up to me and that special teams unit.
Well, I would go ahead and bet on you. See Kevin Stefanski getting everybody ready here. Looks like we're going to get into the team portions of practice, and we're going to have that covered for you here on Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple.
The health and well-being of Ohioans is our top priority. That's why we offer high-quality health insurance plans for you and your family, with access to the doctors and hospitals you know and trust, plus dental, vision, and wellness plans to help you achieve and maintain your best health. We give you peace of mind so you can enjoy life's best moments. We are here for you, today and every day. Medical Mutual, the official health insurer of everything you love.
Antonio's Pizza delivers doubles. Order 2 medium one-topping pizzas for just $9.99 each, or make it a large for just $12.99. Download our new Antonio's Pizza app and order 2 of your favorite one-topping pizzas at a special low price. Choose our no-contact delivery and let one of our in-house team members deliver the deliciousness right to your front door. 2 handmade one-topping pizzas fresh out of our 470-degree oven for a low price of $9.99 each for 2 mediums, or get 2 large for just $12.99 each.
I'm really excited for this season. I know there's been so much talk and so much going around with COVID-19 and a lot of hesitation on what it is, but I'm excited for the season. And as it pertains to what's going on in this building, I'm really excited. I think we've done an incredible job putting together a team and a group of guys who really want to be here, who understand the opportunity that's ahead of them. As long as we stick together and are a team, we can make it through this and do what we all came here to do.
Today's Cleveland Browns high school team of the day, Walsh Jesuit High School paired with Akron East High School to accept the Build the Bridge Challenge. The Warriors are coached by Nick Alexander and are looking to improve this year with 14 returning starters. To learn more about the Build the Bridge Challenge and how you can be the solution, visit clevelandbrowns.com/youthfootball today.
All right, we are back. Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple. The Browns getting right into their team practice, right back into the red zone. And Odell Beckham Jr., who wasn't a part of the team drills yesterday, in today. And there it is, play one, touchdown. And you love to see that from this offense coming back. And so far it's been every other day. This is a good start for them. Nathan Zegura alongside Browns legend Josh Cribbs, and the Browns, they're going to work in the red zone. That is an important area. Kevin Stefanski stressing, look, when you're in a goal-to-go situation, 3rd and goal, that's called a 4-point play because it's the difference between a touchdown and a field goal. And look for the first team there, 1 play, touchdown. Let's get the 2s in there. Case Keenum now under center, or actually in shotgun for the 2s against his defense. Down in the red zone, looking to his right throne, and he is picked off by Denzel Ward, and that is going to be a play of the day nominee, Denzel Ward. That's what we call a pick 6. Forget a 4-point play right there. That one right there could have been a 14-point play.
Yes, and this isn't the first. That's Case Keenum now, but this isn't the first offense out there. However, he is a guy who needs to see and knows that should have been a completion or thrown, so the defense can't get it, or unless the offense has an opportunity. Again, we're talking about these DBs who are tremendously having a tremendous camp so far.
Yeah, Denzel Ward, great job. And I like what we're seeing here. It looks like they're mixing up the defenses and the offenses. It looked like there was the one offense, two defense, two offense, one defense, and Denzel Ward getting the pick 6. And we've seen the defense now. That's interceptions 3 consecutive days here. And it looks like they're playing with consequences. Maybe it is those 4-point plays. One play, we haven't seen what happens if there's an incompletion. But so far it has been a touchdown and an interception. And that was a dime to Bradley from Garrett Gilbert. Great coverage by the DB.
Yes.
I don't know what more he could do, but that was dropped in the bucket, and that is a touchdown there for the offense. A very nice throw from Garrett Gilbert. You see Johnson go in motion, Bradley breaking in on the out route, and there it is right over the corner. That's very good position by Donnie Lewis Jr., the corner. I mean, you can't play much better than that. And yet they got it done. So those were those 4-point plays. That was basically a 3rd-and-goal situation right there. And you saw the Browns offense twice come through with touchdowns. Baker to Odell, Garrett Gilbert there to Bradley, and then the interception, the pick 6 there off of Case Keenum by Denzel Ward. Now the Browns moving it back down the field, backed up in their own area, coming out about their own 20-yard line. Chris Hubbard in at right tackle for Jack Conklin, who's not out there today. And it starts with the toss right to Kareem Hunt. Defense strings him out, Taki there. And today we're back to just kind of touching up as well. They're doing a good job here defensively against the run, and we've seen that the whole time. We've seen that the whole time here through this camp, doing an excellent job thus far. Josh, you got to see that in that 3rd-and-goal situations. The team come through a couple of times.
Yeah, and who do you give that to when the offense has an opportunity to go 2 for 3 in the red zone, but then the one time they don't score, it's a pick 6 for the defense? I think you get more credit when the defense scores from their opposite red zone. And again, we see Kareem Hunt running downhill. Anytime he gets the football running downhill, it's tremendous. He had a lot of success the day before when Baker is under the center, but today out of the shotgun, he still has success. So that's a highlight that I'm seeing. I'm seeing Kareem Hunt get those touches more and more right here, and he's having success, which I give a lot of credit to that offensive line.
Absolutely, and it's an offensive line that today is operating without 2 of the guys you thought were going to be your starters. Jack Conklin at right tackle. Again, no update as of now as to why he is not out there, but it's nice to have a guy, Chris Hubbard, who's been a full-time starter for you, moving over there, and then Nick Harris, the rookie, in for J.C. Treader at center. A little keeper and a swing out, Johnny Stanton, the fullback, Carl Joseph, who's back practicing today, right there on the coverage. But, this is an offense that's predicated on getting those runs out and then being able to come back around on those keepers, and Baker Mayfield in this offense, a little bit of a better rhythm, certainly to start the day here today on day 4.
Yes, anytime you see Baker being able to move the pocket with your nakeds, your boots, he tends to have success. It's a throw-run option. He can have a dump pass to a tight end or a fullback. He can throw those comebacks, those over routes, or he can take off running.
Baker in the shotgun now with Dontrell Hilliard on his side. Sends the receiver in motion from the left. Carl Joseph showing blitz for the defense. Drops out of it. A little play action inside handoff, and he's flushed out to the right. Mayfield finds Odell Beckham Jr., and I got to say, it makes a difference when he's on the field and when he's not. He was not on the field in the team periods yesterday. It was noticeable. Today, he's been out there already, 2 catches, and Odell with the touchdown, as we said, down there on those 4-point plays. He did a great job there, wide open, and he just looks dangerous this year. He's healthy, and that makes all the difference. Sometimes there are things, we've talked about it, where nobody knows what's going on, but it's something that's bothering you. When you're fully healthy and you don't have to think about your body, how much easier is it to play at the level you're accustomed to, Josh?
It is, especially when you see him get out here, warm up, and get back to 100%. He's able to catch the ball, make some moves, and get to where he needs to be for the team come game time. And that's what this situation is all about, getting these guys ready for game 1 with no preseason games.
That's exactly what it's about, because you have only so many days to do it left here. This is, the fourth straight day here. We're going to have a day off. Then you're going to have 4 days on, a day off, 4 days on, a day off. And then it's time to get ready for the season as Case Keenum looking to get back on track after that pick six in the goal line drill. Denzel Ward again getting him. It's great to see Denzel and these corners, even without our guy Cover Johnson out there, they continue to make plays every single day. A little handoff to the right there to Dontrell Hilliard. Nice little lane for him to get up there. Jacob Phillips, the young linebacker from LSU, the Browns' third-round pick this year. He is physical. I was talking with his linebacker coach today, Jason Tarver, and he goes, that guy just loves contact. He loves to get up there and play in the run game, and no wonder he was the SEC's leading tackler. And Tarver last year was actually the defensive coordinator at Vanderbilt, so he knew all about those guys in the SEC.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And when these guys don't wear pads, I kind of don't count the run plays unless it's just wide open and he's not touched, because the defensive line isn't using their body as much. So I'm more looking at these passing routes.
Yeah, and it's tough, obviously, in this to recreate it. The run game, obviously, so physical. Let's check down there to D. Ernest Johnson. You see these guys clearly covering the ball up all over the field with two hands, because they know this defense under Joe Woods, is coming to get the football away from you, take it away, punch it out, and then celebrate it. That's what they like to do on the defense, take the ball away and celebrate taking it away.
And he's making the offense a better ball security offense by doing so. By having such aggressive defense, he in turns make the offense better, because they know they have to cover the ball up, just like you said.
Yeah, not only from the ball covering up. Austin Hooper told us they're throwing a lot of disguise coverages and looks at us early in training camp, which is only going to benefit this team. As you see the toss to the right to Kareem Hunt, and again, Taki there to break it up. And Taki has had a very strong start to camp. But take me into an offensive huddle, either for a quarterback or a wide receiver, Josh. And when you're going against a team that is, in camp, they're disguising these coverages. Those are giving you the looks for what you're going to actually see on Sundays, as opposed to just showing you cover three, a single high, showing you the middle of the field open or the middle of the field closed, and then just staying in that.
Right, and we talked to Austin Hooper about that. Once they hear the play, they're listening for where they're supposed to line up. Then they're thinking about, okay, if they're in the cover 2, I run this route. If they're in the cover 1, I run this route. Usually it's zone or man that will change the type of route that the receivers run, and they have to think about that on the fly because of the disguising of the defense. Because they like to camouflage their play, they'll think, if they don't show those telltale signs of a cover 2, usually there's a guy or two that gives away a cover 2 versus a man coverage, or a zone versus a man. And usually you'll see offenses trying to help their guys out with finding out what defense they're in by sending someone in motion. When you think something is a frivolous motion, it's not. If you see a guy follow up, it's man coverage. And the routes they run accordingly, man versus zone.
And you're seeing a lot more of that. I think we'll see pre-snap motion with this offense as well. We've seen some of that early in camp, but you think about the Niners ran a ton of pre-snap motion because it gives a tell. The Ravens last year, 40% of their plays had pre-snap motion. That was the highest rate in the NFL. Is it a coincidence they were also the best offense in the NFL last year? I don't know if they're directly correlated. They obviously had a lot of talent and a lot of success, but you're trying to acquire as much information as possible, and that's another tool in your toolbox to get information. As we see a little pre-snap motion there, Mayfield under center behind that rookie Nick Harris, and he gets a little bit tripped up on the exchange, and those are the things you got to work out. You're working with a new center, and that's just a little bit, especially in this zone, because your linemen are going horizontally. It might have been Wyatt Teller who got him there, as you saw Wyatt Teller, the right guard, come and talk to Baker. But if you're running a stretch left, those linemen are moving down the line and trying to get their blocks there, and the legs got tangled up. And again, that comes from repetition, knowing where your steps need to be and knowing how the guys around you are moving as well.
And learning how these guys should practice along with one another. They know they're not going around there and they're going to hit these guys because they have no pads on, so they're learning each other out and they're figuring each other out without wearing pads.
Little pre-snap motion from Austin Hooper, an inside handoff there, and it's right the defense. Jordan Elliott, the rookie, who again has had a very strong camp. I know the coaches are very high on him, and what they're looking for rookies who flash is consistency. Once you show me you can do it once or twice, I want to see it every single play.
Yes, and you see Jordan Elliott. One thing I like to see is the little things that count. You see after he tagged off, he turned to that guy who was running, who was still just running the play off, and gave it a little burst. And that's what you're looking for them guys. He didn't just tag and then start walking. He turned, tagged him off and then gave that little burst. That shows you that he's keeping his mental there and he's working on his hustle capabilities.
Sometimes the difference between a modest gain and a big gain in the NFL is a defensive tackle running a play down.
That hustle, yes.
That hustle, and Jordan Elliott certainly showing it there. Let's get to some of our fan questions. Again, you can use the hashtag BrownsLive. We got some coming from Twitter, some coming from Reddit today, and this one comes from Ushaka Drulu. Okay, who do you guys think is in the lead for wide receiver 3? This is an interesting question.
It is. When you look at who's behind Jarvis and Odell, you got a Rashad Higgins who can take it. But when you say wide receiver 3, are you talking about the guys who are wide receivers, or are you talking about the third guy who's going to get the passes in this offense? Because that's a whole different talk.
That'll be Austin Hooper, and he might not even be third. Let's focus just on those receivers.
And my bet is that it'll be Peoples. He's that guy that I'm thinking he's going to move up. They like him. He's starting to take reps with the ones, and I want it to be Higgins. I want Higgins to get some more reps, but I haven't seen him in there as much, especially with the ones. I've seen Peoples come in there a little more often. I haven't seen JoJo run as much with the ones. I don't know who Baker kind of likes as that third receiver, because if you're looking at wide receivers, again, we're not just looking at wide receivers. They may not touch the ball, that third wide receiver. It'll be your 1 and 2, and then the tight end, Austin Hooper, then Kareem Hunt, and then you got your runs in there. So effectively, if that third wide receiver isn't touching the ball, it's kind of like, who does it matter who that third guy is?
Oh, I think it could. You want speed out there. I think that one, though, is a great question because I think it's wide open. I think you mentioned Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think Taywan Taylor is in the mix. I think Kadero Hodge is in the mix. I think Hollywood in the mix. If Damian Ratley could get back on the field, I think he's somebody that would have been in the mix. But I think it's a very good question. I think long-term, if you're buying stock, Donovan Peoples-Jones is the one to buy the stock in, but he's got that speed, and we'll see. You're right, though. This is not a third receiver like you think about some teams. In Arizona, they're talking about maybe we're going to have 3,000-yard receivers. The Browns are not going to have 3,000-yard wide receivers in this offense as Mayfield steps up, shows some of those legs to get out there and turn a good pass rush into a nice little modest gain for him. You're seeing M.J. Stewart there. M.J. Stewart, again, getting work. Just claimed off of waivers from the Bucs late last week. Former second-round pick who's played nickel, started at nickel for that team in the NFL, and he's in there for Cover Johnson, as we know, who is out right now, and again, in the admitted to University Hospitals yesterday afternoon after sustaining that lacerated liver. He's good. So you're seeing M.J. Stewart. That was one of the things we had questions about who'd be in there, but that third receiver, it is wide open. I just think Donovan Peoples-Jones, if he can continue his trajectory, he has a chance to do some things as the ball right there. You love to see that. Baker to Odell, covered by Denzel Ward. Just a lot of star power in one play, but Odell continuing to look fantastic.
And I'm writing down his catches. That's 3 catches,
That's
1
3.
TD for Odell, and you see how day by day his repetition picks up. So if you look at that second day when the offense picked it up, he picked up his receptions as well, and Austin Hooper was in the mix. But when you see these days of the offense, when you say that they're on that upward bound of a roller coaster, that's when Odell and Jarvis starts to pick up a lot of receptions.
There's no doubt there is a direct correlation between the ball going to number 13 and this offense doing well. And there's Andy Janovich out of the backfield again, and he's a fullback that can catch the ball, as I said multiple times. Guy averaged over 11 yards per catch for his career, and when you get the matchup, that's what this offense can do. That was the fullback on the defensive end, Porter Gustin. That's a win for the offense. Anytime you can get a guy with some athletic ability one-on-one with a defensive end in coverage.
And that's his second catch of the day. So they're important. When you go to the fullback in this offense with that power, you know that the fullback kept the receptions out the backfield is important to this offensive coordinator if he's working it like he is in training camp.
He certainly is. And remember, last year in Minnesota, Kevin Stefanski calling the plays for the Minnesota Vikings, and their fullback, C.J. Ham, went to the Pro Bowl. And Ham last year out of the backfield, 20 catches, 159 yards, and a touchdown.
Wow.
So that's won a game.
Yes.
That's won a game. All right, it's time for everybody's favorite favorite part of the show. I can't wait to see what the fun puppy name is today. It is the Puppy Pound Puppy of the Day, adopted by Sugardale. Today's puppy is a 7-month-old lab mix named Chewy Hewlett, and we're doing the specialist. How appropriate. Chewy Hewlett.
I like it.
If you want to see or adopt a puppy of your own, visit browns.com/puppypound. There's a limited number of appointments and puppies available each day, so don't delay. With each puppy adoption, families will receive a puppy starter kit provided by Sugardale while supplies last. Chewy Hewlett looks like a nice little black lab mix. A handsome young fella, Chewy Hewlett. All right, Josh, hold it up for him. It is the Browns Pro Shop item of the day, and today's item is the Cleveland Browns trucker-style snapback hat. As you see it there, it comes in not only orange but brown. If I could reach down and pull mine up, I would do that for you. But imagine it. Look at Josh modeling this. Man, that could be in a catalog. There you see the orange and the brown. You could get this hat today for only $20. What a deal.
Yeah.
Don't miss out on this exclusive offer. Call the Pro Shop at 440-824-3427 to place your order, or head to First Energy Stadium today to get your own. And it's breathable. It's that trucker hat mesh in the back. The beautiful, it's simple. Cleveland Browns in the patch on the front, coming in the orange and the brown. And the stores, just so you guys know and feel comfortable, it has been updated for a clean and safe shopping experience. It's open every day from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. The best part about all of this is not only are you getting a great deal, you're getting a great hat on your head. The net proceeds, all of them, will benefit the Cleveland Browns Foundation. We'll be back with more Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple from Berea.
It's like Apple.
And we dance the same too. And 1 and 2, shake now, stomp. Put it in the basket.
Now let's cobbler.
And cobbler. And cobbler.
Tastes just like fruit, but Snapple. Tastes like a perfect peach. It keeps on peaching. Tastes just like fruit, but Snapple.
The world has changed, but some facts remain. Every 40 seconds, someone has a heart attack. And every hour, over 700 people suffer a broken bone. While those numbers haven't changed, there are fewer people seeking the treatment they need. If you're injured, sick, or in pain, it's safe to get the care you need at university hospitals. Protecting your health with science and compassion. That's UH Safe.
Antonio's Pizza delivers doubles. Order 2 medium one-topping pizzas for just $9.99 each, or make it a large for just $12.99. Download our new Antonio's Pizza app and order 2 of your favorite one-topping pizzas at a special low price. Choose our no-contact delivery and let one of our in-house team members deliver the deliciousness right to your front door. 2 handmade one-topping pizzas fresh out of our 470-degree oven for a low price of $9.99 each for 2 mediums, or get 2 large for just $12.99 each.
The Cleveland Browns are tremendously grateful for those who continue to serve on the front lines during these extremely challenging times. As a way to show our appreciation and as a part of our Hats Off to Our Heroes Foundation, we will honor a frontline worker for each week of the season. Nominate any frontline worker that you know for a chance to be honored with an exclusive Browns game day experience. Learn more by visiting clevelandbrowns.com/nominate-a-hero.
Today's dog of the day, brought to you by Sugardale, is D'Artagnan McCord from Mentor, Ohio. Love that name. They call him the Dog Pound D, and he knows more Browns trivia than grown men in their 60s. Take that. Age ain't nothing but a number, D'Artagnan. He wakes up feeling dangerous, and he bleeds orange and brown. Not a day goes by that he doesn't wear Browns gear to support his favorite team. I gotta tell you what, I like this kid, D'Artagnan. Strong name, little Stranger Things, little Three Musketeers tie-ins. If you want a chance to be featured as our dog of the day, visit browns.com/training camp to submit your stories. We get back out to the field shortly here. The Browns
begin their team drills. Nathan Zgur alongside Browns legend Josh Cribbs, and this is Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple. As we were in our break, we saw a nice pass from Baker Mayfield to Austin Hooper over the middle of the field, and Kareem Hunt, another nice run, Josh.
Yes, definitely, and they're hitting their stride on offense, as you saw that the roller coaster from day 1 to day 3, and now they're kind of finding their rhythm where they keep Baker on the move. He's having a lot of success with the boots and the nuggets. 2 receptions already with the fullback. You see guys getting those receptions early. Odell with 3 catches on the day and a touchdown, 2 for 3 in the red zone. The offense, they're looking really good. I say this is an upward momentum from this offense so far today.
And you like to see it, and really Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. again in a good groove as they were 2 days ago. Yesterday, again, to be fair to this offense, you didn't have Odell, you didn't have Jarvis in the team periods, and that matters. And clearly today with Odell back, they are looking pretty good. As you saw Kevin Stefanski there a moment ago talking to the team, we've got everybody lining up here on one sideline. I'm not sure what they're going to get after. One thing they did do earlier today was they were forcing an offensive lineman, big 6'8" Alex Taylor, number 67, to catch a punt in front of the whole team. And Josh, from far away, I'm no expert, but I thought his form looked pretty good right there.
Yeah, he caught the ball. That was one thing that you wanted to see, and it's good to see that during training camp, because a lot of coaches don't do that, but you have a select few that the players like, and during training camp can get a bit redundant, working on the same thing over and over. Coaches like to throw some fun in there, and that's what happened there. You see the big guy catching a punt return.
And I like what they're doing here, a drill for the old scoop and score, because when that ball's on the ground, you want to be able to get it. That's the most important thing, right?
And they're preparing for turnovers.
Exactly.
That's awesome. You want to have your team thinking turnovers, thinking ball security, thinking that you have to practice it, and that's what they're doing out here right now.
Absolutely, and you see the scoop and score drill. We've got some good sound for you, though, from earlier today. Both Kareem Hunt, our running back, he talked about competition, and linebackers coach Jason Tarver also addressed the media about his room now that Mack Wilson, unfortunately, was injured.
I mean, yeah, it feels good, just getting some extra reps, learning more of the playbook and stuff like that. So, yeah, I feel really good. I'm not bothered by my injuries. I had an injury coming into last year, so I feel good. Body feels good.
We've had great competition through camp, and so we've been rolling people anyway, even when Mac was in, because we wanted to see what we had, like we've spoke about before on our Zoom press conferences. It's a competition, top to bottom. So we've been rolling our group. What's been impressive about our group is their ability to communicate. So we've moved different players to different positions and see how they speak to each other and how well they can function, because it's our job to get the defense lined up and be the in-between between the D-line and the DBs. So BJ Goodson has done a great job being a pro in the room, running the show, running and hitting and lining everybody up, and really getting in front of the huddle and being confident and taking advantage of his opportunities.
All right, and earlier today I actually talked with Coach Tarver, and he told me Mack Wilson is participating in all the Zoom meetings and everything, so still locked in there. It was a day of the specialists, and speaking of the specialists, we're going to see him right now. Austin Seibert, as you see Case Keenum doing the holding, not the Scottish Hammer. The Hammer out with an undisclosed illness for the second straight day, as that one is right down the middle. Former NFL Equipment Manager of the Year Brad Melland giving the signal that it is up and it is good. So Keenum, a backup quarterback. Many teams have your backup quarterback as the holder. The Browns have had Gillum, but again, it's next man up, and who would have thought you'd need that at the holder position? Again, undisclosed illness for the Hammer, not considered serious. And you see Seibert knock it through, as I mentioned before, 15 of 15 inside of 40 yards last year. Another one from Seibert, again, right down the pipe. The kick is up. And the kick is good. Look at that very synchronized and official step there from strength coach Larry Jackson and equipment manager Brad Mellon. They
look like they practice it, don't they?
Mid-season form, Josh.
Yeah, they look good. And one thing you want to see by from your kicker, your punter, again, the consistency. They're working on this. This is not just a regular practice for them. They're fine-tuning themselves. They put a lot of pressure on themselves to make it. The organization put pressure on them as well, bringing guys, trying out kickers here and there. They want to make sure that the pressure is on in these practices so that once the lights and the game and all that turns on, they'll be ready to go. That's what they're missing by not having the fans out here too, because if you miss a kick, they'll boo. They like, man, get a guy that'll make the kicks for this team. But again, last year he was a high percentage guy, took it to heart, and it showed by him making a huge number of his PATs.
Yeah, he played well last year, and you want to see more growth from Seibert, a guy who could become your kicker for a long time, as he was wide left on the last one, 2 out of 3 so far. That one up and right back through, 3 for 4 for Seibert now on the day. And, yeah, the Browns did work out some kickers over the past few days. Kevin Stefanski telling me that was just due diligent, not in any way, shape, or form a reflection of Seibert, who by all accounts has been off to a good start in camp thus far. As they back it up a little bit more here, Seibert's tough to tell from our vantage point just how far this kick is. But here we go. Let's see if he can put another one through. 3 for 4 on the day so far from what we've seen anyway on our screen. The ball down, kick is up, and the kick. That one looked good to me. I'm an amateur. Yep, the kick is good. 5 out of 6 now for Seibert on the day, and they're backing it up again. That looked 40-plus to me.
Oh, yeah, and we used to, as players, we used to bet push-ups on this. I bet he make them all for 10 push-ups, for 20 push-ups, or something like that, trying to see who can take the bet on push-ups. So,
and then when you tell him, be like, hey, Phil, I bet on you.
Oh, definitely.
Don't let me down. Okay.
The pressure is on, and we did that to keep the pressure on.
Ball down from Keenum, Seibert through, and that one again looked good to me. Right down, that was good. If that kick was over 40, that was good from 80, if you ask me. Again, not a professional, it's a tight shot, but that looked like that went through very high on the uprights with plenty of oomph on it. Seibert now 6 for 7 in what you're showing. And how about this? I mean, we got to give credit to Paul Taylor designing this rundown to focus on the specialists, and we're getting a full-on kicking period here, which who would have known we were going to get this? You're seeing him.
Yes, this is what good teams do. And you go around the NFL, find out which teams in the NFL spend a lot of times on special teams, and then you'll end up looking at their record and saying, oh, okay, this is why this team was in the playoffs. Every facet of the game is taken at high priority, as they're doing right now.
All 3 phases are very important. Mike Prefer, who's been on the staff with Seibert last year, he was with Case Keenum in 2017 when Keenum was with the Vikings. As Seibert looked like wide right on that last one, is 6 of 8 now that we've seen here in this period. Again, working with the new Holder, and Keenum, his typical Holder, the Scottish Hammer, out with an undisclosed illness today, as he was yesterday as well. That one is good, and he hasn't. I like that. When he had a miss, he's bounced back right afterwards. Thank you very much. As Brad Mellon and Larry Jack said, they're done. Looked like 7 for 9 or 8 for 10 for Seibert there in that kicking period. And again, he's got a guy with a lot of promise. Kicker's not often drafted, Josh. He was taken in the 5th round a year ago. He's tremendous on kickoffs, and that played a big part of our coverage because he got very good at kicking it high and putting it down about 1 to 2 yards in or right on the goal line where they have to bring it out, and then you try to stop them inside the 20 and pick up some net yards that way.
And it's not easy. I want people to understand that he's kicking those consecutive field goals. It's not easy to do that. The more you kick, the more fatigue your leg gets. You have to be able to control your swing, control your steps, and then give a huge punch to get that ball through those uprights and to do it consecutively. This is why was drafted in the NFL. This is why he's a pro here in the National Football League.
And they're going right to the kickoffs. First one there to JoJo Natson, and not the cleanest catch there. Obviously he caught it, but wasn't able to get his body straight behind it on that one.
And if you see it, if you had the opportunity to watch the kick returners or the punt returners, you'll want to watch their feet. If their feet are settled under them, then they usually make a good catch with their hands. But if you look at that last one, he was kind of moving around. His feet wasn't settled as he caught the football, and that usually disrupts the catch.
As you see, they're going through on this side, the kicking side, kind of a scout team look. Seibert getting his work on getting those kicks down there. And then on the other end, you've got your returners going through kind of a walk-through speed of setting up this return and what it's going to look like. And again, we've mentioned it's JoJo Natson, who's been the returner for the Rams the last 2 seasons, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, who we've seen kind of handled the majority of these returns. And that one out of the end zone there, and they turn around, they're just kind of going through. Tell me what we're seeing here. As you see the guys in the shells as well, kind of the pennies over their uniforms. What are we working on here?
Yes, this is kickoff, kick return, scout team reps. the guys, whoever have the pennies on, they call them, those are the jerseys, the non-Browns jerseys. Those are the scout team guys, and it seems like the scout team right now is a scout KOR, scout kick return. They'll give a genuine, basic look of a kick return, and then it will practice based off of that look, and it's probably seeing what a potential team like the Ravens might do, and you practice against what they might do based off of footage, and then you run your team down there, and that's what they talk about in the classroom. You should have went this way. The block was facing right. Why didn't you take a jab step and rip left away from the block? So all those things go into when you're looking at the punt return, the kick return unit.
And there Natson gets the return and takes it out about half speed as you see some of those core special teams guys. Sheldrick Redwine, I mentioned, M.J. Stewart, Tavier Thomas out there, Tay Davis. Those are the guys that are going to be key to our coverage teams, which, again, were very, very good last year.
Yes.
And you're trying to keep that coverage. If you can maintain that 7 yards here, 7 yards there, that can change the game and turn a possession that ends outside of field goal range into a field goal or give you a chance to get into the end zone.
And we talked about this. We got a question from a fan, and they talked about who would be that number 3 wide receiver. Well, that number 3 wide receiver will be on the core special teams. They have to play special teams. That's the reason why I mentioned Donovan Peoples, because he probably will have to be a guy that plays kickoff, kick return, whether he's the returner or not, gunner, and punt return. So it'll be a guy that's a core guy, and you were just naming them. Hodge, Tavier Thomas, Delpit maybe, Carl Joseph, Tay Davis. These are core special teams guys. So when you look at who is going to be your starters, who's going to be your backups, the guys that are going to make the team, more than likely, are they on cores? If they're a core special teams guy, they may be your backups on offense and defense.
And that's, again, one of the things to really pay attention to when we show these special team guys. Who are the guys that are out there? Those are the guys that typically are your 4th, 5th, 6th receiver, your 4th, 5th, 6th linebacker, your bottom cornerbacks, your safeties, and some of your top line guys as well, because it is too important not to have your good players out there on special teams. Before we go, we're going to come back obviously with more action here on Browns Live, but how about a little trivia presented by Howard Hanna? Today's question: who holds the NFL record for 2 100-plus yard kickoff return touchdowns in a single game? The answer when we return.
At Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, we realize now, more than ever, is the perfect time to have the perfect house. We're confident we can find your dream home, even in today's competitive market. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
That's the elegance of having a mustache.
Cleveland Brown fans, can you say go Browns?
Welcome back to Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple. Time now to get the answer to our Howard Hanna trivia question. And you saw it. You saw the footage earlier.
Oh, yeah.
So I hope the people were able to figure it out. Who holds the NFL record with 2 100-plus yard kickoff returns, touchdowns in the same game? The answer is the guy right next to me, Josh Cribbs, who did it, as we saw, against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, and that's a team. I love giving credit to where credit was due. You see the guys, notice how hard they were blocking. Certain guys was racing after me to throw themselves in certain blocks. It was definitely a team effort. Look at the guys. Look at them. Everybody's double teams right there. Look at the hustle. Look at guys running. There's no standing around. This is what I love from this special team, from playing special teams here for your Cleveland Browns.
You still have that acceleration. I mean, you hit the spin move and were pretty much stopped, and then it was straight away.
I felt like sometimes I blacked out, and then I got in the end zone like, hey, how did I get here? What happened? What happened?
Now, I like this, and I'm going to say good job by the official score, because the first one, you had 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and I like that they recognized you did catch the ball on the line for the full 100. This one was deep. Oh, poor 96.
Yeah.
That's sad. He probably didn't want to have to see
Well,
this
he
again.
hustled.
He did hustle, but he also, at some point, you have to know when to throw in the towel.
Yes.
Not going to catch Josh Cribbs, NFL record holder. And that's one, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm going to go out on a limb right now. That will never happen again.
And it's difficult, especially the way the rules of the NFL are right now. And we talked about it, the days of the return man, the days of that era. It seems to be long gone when you figure out if coaches will say, all right, would I take the 25? Or would I say, hey, we have a heck of a return team. We have a heck of a returner. Let's take the chance.
Not only that, these kickers today, guys getting touchbacks, that was like, oh, man, there are kickers that couldn't reach the end zone. These guys can all kick it out of the end zone whenever they want.
But that was during the rule change. And even when I went to different teams, I still the rule was changed. So I 5 yards, 6 yards deep. If I can catch it going forward, I'm coming out of the end zone. Catching it going forward is half the battle in returning.
Absolutely. As we get back now onto the field, you see Baker Mayfield and this offense and the offensive line going through things. Just going through a little install right now. On the offense, defense, one on one field, the other on the other field. Evan Brown getting some reps at center there with Baker Mayfield. Brown, a second-year player the Browns signed this offseason, number 63, spent some time with the Giants as well as the Miami Dolphins. So getting a little bit of work in there at that center position. We've seen Nick Harris be in that center spot with J.C. Treader, we know, out. And there was Evan Brown getting a little bit of work with that first team. As you're continuing to try to get these guys experience, get them reps, and get them ready.
Yes, this is those mental reps that we talked about, especially when you don't have pads on. So before they go back to another team period, they go over everything. They go over the offensive script so that when they line up, they don't want to see the mental errors. The coaches, the general manager, upper management, they want to see what these guys do going full speed, knowing exactly what they're doing, being full knowledge and not guessing and giving up everything for that play to see if the play works or not. Can they continue to run this play when the game starts? But they can't figure that out if someone is not where they're supposed to be.
Absolutely. And you look again, a lot of changes. You're trying things out. When you're forced to have that next man up, there are going to be multiple solutions. Potentially, Nick Harris has gotten a lot of time with that first team. Evan Brown getting a little bit of a time now. Speaking of important things, it's the Community Spotlight. And in today's Community Spotlight, we highlight our Stay in the Game network partner, the East Cleveland School District. The CEO of the East Cleveland School District, Dr. Pettigrew, outlines the challenges the school district faces, along with the tremendous hope and opportunity that lies ahead for students in their city.
Initiative in the East Cleveland City School District. We are in the 4th poorest community in the United States of America. Our students are not engaged into education, and as they walk up and down the streets, they don't see opportunity. So the schoolhouse becomes the place where we can unlock those dreams and those possibilities. And we have young people now that are in our communities and in our cities that need education in order to help them prepare for the future. That education every day matters. School is not the same as it was years ago. Every day there's loss when students aren't in school. So we're trying to get that message out to families with the Browns to let them know that we need them to stay in the game so that they can earn the living and earn the wages that they desire in their dreams. As early as kindergarten, we start to let children know that you need to learn how to go to school on time, come to work on time, how to be able to follow directions. Some of those basic things that we need to learn as adults, we're starting to do those at the early grades. We want students to be prepared. It starts with being in school every day, being here on time, and then we're able to open the world up through educational advancement. The work of the school can't be done without families and without parents and the community at large. Some of the biggest barriers to attendance that students are facing today, number one is communication, being able to communicate with the school and understand where their student is with attendance and how that attendance is negatively or positively impacting the student's education. The Browns Foundation is helping us with that initiative. We've been able to leverage funds with the Browns Foundation to increase our communication efforts. We've also been able to increase the awareness of the Get to School campaign because now parents are affiliating East Cleveland City Schools with the Browns, and there's a partnership there that there are two entities that care about our children and making sure they come to school.
The Cleveland Browns Foundation and the East Cleveland School District have partnered together to encourage and support students to stay in the game and keep learning every day. Learn more about how you can get involved at gettoschool.org. That's school.org. Little update for you here, Nick Harris. We were just talking about how Evan Brown was getting some of the work with the starters there as that first-team center in the install. Nick Harris, we were told, went into the locker room and is now jogged back onto the field with trainers. We'll keep you updated. We'll see if Nick Harris slides back in there. If it was just something he had to, sometimes you just have to get into the locker room for a second, Josh, and then you get back out there. But that could explain why Evan Brown was with the starters for that period of time. And again, we'll keep you covered on that when we return here on Browns Live Training Camp, presented by Snapple.
Snapple apple tastes like apple.
And we dance the same too. And one, and two, shake now, stomp. Put it in the basket.
Now let's cobbler.
And cobbler. And cobbler.
Tastes just like fruit, but Snapple. Tastes like a perfect peach. It keeps on peaching. Tastes just like fruit, but Snapple.
Antonio's Pizza delivers doubles. Order 2 medium one-topping pizzas for just $9.99 each, or make it a large for just $12.99. Download our new Antonio's Pizza app and order 2 of your favorite one-topping pizzas at a special low price. Choose our no-contact delivery and let one of our in-house team members deliver the deliciousness right to your front door. 2 handmade one-topping pizzas fresh out of our 470-degree oven for a low price of $9.99 each for 2 mediums, or get 2 large for just $12.99 each.
If you're watching this right now, chances are you need an immunization. Whether you're a new parent or grandparent, spend time with your own grandparents, have a child with a compromised immune system, have diabetes or shingles, the list goes on. Stop by your local Discount Drug Mart and see us for an immunization review today. Protecting your loved ones is our top priority. A Discount Drug Mart immunization review is quick and free. It's the insurance your family needs to stay healthy. Discount Drug Mart, your immunization destination.
New this year, Browns fans all across Ohio will have a special opportunity to purchase 50-50 raffle tickets during the 2020 Cleveland Browns training camp. Each ticket will provide a chance to win half of the raffle's net proceeds, the other half benefiting the Stay in the Game Network and Shoes and Clothes for Kids, a Cleveland-based nonprofit organization. Some exclusions apply. For more information and to purchase a raffle ticket, visit Browns5050.com, that's Browns5050.com, or the Browns mobile app.
Attendance is our key initiative in the East Cleveland City School District. We are in the 4th poorest community in the United States of America. And we have young people now that are in our communities and in our cities that need education in order to help them prepare for the future. The work of the school can't be done without families and the community at large. The Browns Foundation is helping us to increase our communication effort. Parents are affiliating East Cleveland City Schools with the Browns, and there's a partnership there. There are two entities that care about our children and making sure they come to school.
All right, welcome back to Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple. Nathan Zagura, Browns legend, NFL record holder Josh Cribbs with me. And Josh, we're getting back into some 7-on-7 action. I can update you already. Nick Harris jogged back out and is now working with the first team in the offensive line drills over to the side. We saw a nice completion from Baker Mayfield to Kaderil Hodge, and now Case Keenum, and that second unit is in there. You see number 41 on your screen for a brief second. That's Montrell Meander, a guy who has been with the Browns before on the practice squad, a converted safety now playing linebacker, and so he's a guy that is naturally going to be comfortable in space, and that's something that this linebacking core is definitely going to be looking for. Jason Tarver, the linebacker coach, saying that he's done very well on the edges, the perimeters, and just he is comfortable in coverage.
Yes, and again, you mentioned that he was on practice squad before. This is, the year that he'll try to graduate from that, hopefully make the roster playing special teams, and then show the guys what he can do.
Keenum drops back, and he looks down the middle, and there it is, completion right down the seam. DJ Montgomery, who, again, had a great preseason a year ago, an undrafted free agent who really opened a lot of eyes. He's in the mix as well. He's a guy competing to make this roster. They like his route-running abilities, got good hands, showed it getting down the seam, and that was a nice ball from Keenum, kind of just up over the coverage, drop it in right into the bucket.
Yes, what you're seeing right now is guys that are capable. Now, whether the head coach or the wide receivers and general managers like them to make the team, that is another question entirely.
Keenum looking again, having to buy some time, throws it up top. Pharaoh Brown with a great catch above Javonte Moffitt and Sheldrick Redwine. And Pharaoh Brown, as Drew Petzing told us on Browns Live yesterday, the size of the man, 6'6", clearly the biggest tight end here. And Keenum said, put it up, go make a play, big fella. And the big fella made a play.
Oh, yeah, and the more he catches, the more he's consistent, that will increase his chances to make this football team because he's a big special teams contributor.
Yep.
When you look at who we already have playing tight end, they're stacked. The difference will be consistency and special teams.
A much better day for this offense today so far, especially down in the red zone. Harrison Bryant, of course, he catches it. It doesn't matter if he's diving. Doesn't matter. He catches everything thrown his way. But just a little bit of a better rhythm, and I think a large part of that for the offense, Odell Beckham Jr. being back on the field. And, again, no pads today, so it's a very different feel out there. But going through, and it's about making the right reads and being accurate with the football, and I think we've seen the quarterbacks do that. But the defense will be quick to remind you all that in that what we would call the most intense competition period, that 3rd and goal.
Oh, yeah.
Baker to Odell touchdown, but Denzel Ward pick 6 off of Case Keenum as we see Baker Mayfield and the ones back out there now in these 7-on-7 drills. Baker under center again, dropping back. Quick little rhythm throw to Kareem Hunt, and that is the route right there. When he runs that little angle route, Josh, that is going to be a real problem for linebackers if they're matched up with Kareem one-on-one.
Yes, and you see how they have him lined up outside. If you're the defensive coordinator, do you put a linebacker out of there? Then this is where the offense can use their strategic value when you have certain players of his caliber. If they cover him with a linebacker, hey, let's take Nick Chubb when he's healthy and run him up the middle with that linebacker way outside covering him. And if you line up a DB on him, hey, let's throw it to him. He's bigger and he can catch the ball.
Talking about that third receiver earlier. Right now you've got Odell and Jarvis on the field. The third receiver with them at this time is Kaderil Hodge. As you see M.J. Stewart Jr. and Terrence Money Mitchell out there. Again, another check down to Kareem Hunt, who is having a nice day, both running it and receiving the ball. And it's amazing. It is not often that you get a guy like this. If we were going into camp and he said Kareem Hunt's your starter and Dontrell and Dearness are your backups, you'd be like, man, we are so lucky to have a player of his caliber. We have him and Nick Chubb, but he's been getting a lot of work, obviously, with Chubb out with that concussion.
But this makes perfect sense. They're in the tight red zone right now. Why wouldn't you throw it out in space to a guy like Kareem Hunt? This is why we brought him on the team. Throw it to him in space. Let him make an athletic move to get in the end zone. He has a knack for it. All you have to do is get him the ball in space. Touchdown every time, a high percentage.
I like that, and it's right. And look, Pete Prisco, who joined us, the NFL analyst for CBS Sports, he said, I expect a lot of missed tackles in the early going because teams aren't going to tackle live much before they get into this season. There aren't those preseason games that are full 60 minutes of live tackling. Baker Mayfield finding old, reliable Austin Hooper over the middle for the touchdown here in this red zone goal line period in the 7-on-7s. And some good work for the Browns offense today. And it's something that I think after yesterday they needed, they wanted wanted to see it. They're going to focus on these red zone concepts. Austin Hooper told us that. Kevin Stefanski said those 4-point plays, those are the key. They're doing a much better job on it today.
Yeah, and even though the offense right now is having a lot of success, they're making their strides both on offense and defense. You see that from the pick from Denzel Ward earlier in the red zone period. Now, we're in tight red zone right here, so it's hard for those DBs to cover up and to match up in space, but they're having success on both sides of the football.
Ball out quickly again to Odell. Good coverage. Solomon Ajayi right there for him at the linebacker position. Odell says, I was getting in there anyway.
Yeah, I'm about to say, when you catch a ball like that, he's touchdown. Automatic.
Just reach it across the stripe, and it's a touchdown. But Odell looking very good today, and it's really been a consistent theme. When Baker's been looking at his best, Odell, Hooper, Jarvis have been out there with him. We didn't see that yesterday as Odell didn't participate in the team portions of practice, and Jarvis didn't participate in practice at all yesterday. They're all out there today, and the offense, again, looking much better. Physicality certainly taken down a notch today, as everybody probably eyeing that day off. This has been the first real long stretch of practices, 3 straight days of pads before today. But again, it's about the rhythm. It's about that confidence, and you're seeing it as a quarterback. You know you want to have those good vibes headed in that day off. And right now, I would say for Baker, certainly he's having them.
Yes, and Baker, when Baker hits his strides, it's usually because the tight end position, the running back position, all those guys start playing, wide receivers. Your main guys are catching the football. Your Odells are catching the ball. Even your backups. So when they have good success, when we talk about roller coaster, this is a incline day when you see the ball spread it out. Now I want to see the depth of this offense. The Keenums have success. I want to see Gilbert have success, as we see right now in the red zone.
Gilbert off the hands of Jamon Moore there, and that's one, again, you want when you're a receiver trying to make your name, if it touches your hands, those are the ones that you want to be bringing in. As you can tell, Moore very disappointed after that one came off of his hands as Garrett Gilbert was looking for it, and you see Jacob Phillips wearing some OBJ cleats, and Odell, one of the things that makes his teammates love him for sure, and just the fact that they like being around him and he's a fun guy to be around. Whenever anybody wants some Odell cleats, he's happy to share them with the squad. And so you'll see a lot of the young guys especially take him up on that and get those cleats. Is Gilbert in there? Donovan Peoples-Jones in the field. He finds Pharaoh Brown in the corner of the end zone. And again, another nice day for the tight ends. Pharaoh Brown, 2 touchdowns here in the 7-on-7 red zone goal line period.
And you see the consistency. I said it before. When you're looking at this tight end room, it's consistency
every
all
day.
along here. Yes, they had a bad day in the rain, though, and that's a well-thought-out excuse. It was raining. They had to get their footing. It was the second day of camp. Now you see them hitting their stride. Consistency becomes them. And when they have consistency, they play, like none other.
All right, and here we go, getting back into the team as you see the big fellas up front getting in the huddle, and Nick Harris is back in there with the starters. So no concern that perhaps they weren't thinking his play was up to the level. Nick Harris just went in the locker room momentarily, back out there, and it is Kadarrell Hodge out there as that third receiver alongside, it looked like Odell Beckham Jr., maybe just 2 receivers there. Play action from Mayfield, looks and fires, and speaking of Kadarrell Hodge, a nice catch, and he's a guy that, again, I still think is very much in. He says, come on, keep feeding me the ball, let's go, is very much in that third receiver battle. He has the speed. He averaged 19 yards a catch last year, and it was a huge priority for him. He said, look, they think of me as a special teams guy. I want to show them I'm a receiver too, and he has had a good first week out here in Berea, Josh.
Yes, he has, and I keep seeing his number come up, and I'm asking about him. He's another guy. When he gives an opportunity, he makes the best of it, and how he makes the best of it, catching the football when he's supposed to catch it. That's it. And he's been able to get out there and have his quarterback feel trust within him when he's throwing the football.
Yeah, as a receiver, that's what you want. Get open and then catch ball when they get it to you. Baker looking left, nothing there. Rolling out to the right, fires a strike. Good coverage from Grant Delpit on Austin Hooper. And the more I see Grant Delpit on the field, the more I want to see Grant Delpit on the field. Double deuces. I mean, look at that combo. 21-22. Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit could be in that same secondary for a long time.
And when you see the offense playing like they are, they're statistically winning the day by just throwing completions throwing the balls they should throw, doing the check downs, making those high percentage passing plays. They're having some success. At the same time, there's balance. The defense is still knocking down plays. As you said, Grant Delpit on the field with the pass breakup. Denzel Ward earlier with the pick six.
This is more of that red zone goal line period here. As you can tell, they're on the far field today, but they do look to be close to the end zone line. And we're seeing, M.J. Stewart, that's number 36. That's a name Browns fans familiarize yourself with. Things did not go great for him in Tampa Bay. They released him. He was a second-round pick in 2018. So things didn't go great there. But sometimes it's a clean slate. It's a new start, a fresh feel, and you can break out. Obviously a talented guy. He's number 36. He's working in the slot with Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams on the outside. Of course, Cover Johnson, as we know, in the hospital right now, and we wish him a speedy return. But that's what we're seeing in these early nickel sets, and we're seeing Sione Takitaki get valuable reps at the linebacking core in some of these nickel situations as he was in coverage there, and good coverage on Kareem Hunt. The defense, that's one, Josh, where they're saying that was a sack.
Definitely, especially you can see when they don't have pads. You see Takitaki laughing right there like, man, I would have had you, man. Good coverage all around on the defense. You see Baker allowing himself to extend the play with his feet. Again, it's questionable, though, because they don't have pads, and they're told to stay off the quarterback, but you still like to see him move around real-time game situation. We've seen him escape before in the pocket, so it's not out of the realm that he could have gotten out of that jam.
Of course not, but I think these are very important reps for Takitaki. You see Baker looking for Donovan Peoples, for Odell Beckham Jr. trying to climb the ladder, one-handed catch. Great coverage from Greedy Williams there on that timing throw.
Not on Greedy.
To the quarter. He's not today.
Not greedy.
Today.
And it almost was a pretty setup. In practice, only an Odell can do that. Only a Jarvis type player, Odell, are allowed to have plays like that where they try a one-handed. Because, of course, game on the line, you want this guy going up with two hands, making the short grab, touching the 2 feet down and scoring a touchdown. But, again, he's working on that one hand, which he does all the time and has success at. I don't recommend it. But when you're an Odell or Jarvis, you can do things like that.
His one hand is better than most people's two
Definitely.
hands, so he had no problem going for it. All right, so we're going to keep the coverage coming for you. Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple. But remember, as we've told you, there are unbelievable auction experiences happening with items to benefit the Browns Foundation Stay in the Game education program. And today's experience of the day is a dream wedding at First Energy Stadium. This has never been offered before. It is an opportunity for you diehard Browns fans to exchange vows on the field at First Energy Stadium in front of your loved ones. Again, this is something that has never been offered before. Make history on the most important day where you unite yourself with your soulmate for the rest of your life.
Nobody will ever forget this.
Oh, no. They will
the
certainly
iconic stadium
not.
Here in Cleveland, no. That's never, ever going to forget that.
Never going to forget. I think bringing some of that love into the stadium might bring some success here to the Browns. I think there's the tie-in here. Love is in the air. So bid on this experience right now. Visit browns.com/auctions. Listen, we know in the COVID times it's tough to find wedding venues. This is an outdoor one.
Yeah.
Social distance space, tons of space, hundreds of yards, in fact.
Right.
So go bid on this experience right now and more at browns.com/auctions. We'll be back with more Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple.
Just got my new jersey from the Browns.
And it looks like we're going a little bit more traditional this year. Tall Heck yeah.
Well, I like the white one. Back to the good old days.
I can catch that. Pass you. You see my highlight tape yet?
Time now for our Browns Live Play of the Day presented by University Hospitals, and it's Garrett Gilbert throwing an absolute dime to rookie wide receiver Jamarcus Bradley. That's what you want to see. That was early in the 4-point play section. It was 3rd and goal. They only had one shot to get it in, and when he throw it this well, Garrett Gilbert, an absolute dime, dropping in the bucket. The toe tap there. Jamarcus Bradley, the rookie out of Louisiana Lafayette, a play he won't soon forget. Nathan Segura alongside Josh Cribbs. It's Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple. Let's get back out there onto the field. The Browns continuing to stress red zone, goal line area, close to scoring situations where you need to make sure you go down there and you get 7. Baker Mayfield in the shotgun. He's back looking. Adrian Claiborne at the pressure. Flushes him out to the right. Mayfield buying time, throwing, and it's caught. Jarvis Landry with the toes in there. Touchdown, Browns.
Yes, and you see with the toes right there, he's letting it be known it was a touchdown. Baker being flushed out the pocket. Again, he's having a lot of success when being flushed out the pocket or allowed to be able to stay on the move. Even when he steps up in the pocket, he's better statistically when throwing on the move.
Money Mitch was right there. He is. He's excellent outside of the pocket. Now the pressure came from Adrian Claiborne, the 10-year veteran, one of the longest tenured Browns. A couple years ago had 9 sacks. He once had 6 sacks in a game. And he right there, inside move on Jedrick Wills, and that's going to be good work for Jedrick. And listen, he'd be the first to tell you, I still have a long, long way to go, but that is good work for him, and that's a nice play. Kareem Hunt around the right side with center Nick Harris paving the way. And Kareem said, yeah, that was a touchdown. I got in there.
Oh,
no
yeah,
worries.
and I like to see that work, like you said, by the D-line, still with no pads, using their fundamentals, rip move inside to provide that pressure on that quarterback hurries. If we had pads on, understand that they let off the quarterback. They start a few good hard steps in, and then they start slowing down. So you don't know what could have happened had it been a real game. Had he's facing any other quarterback, would that be a sack or not?
Garrett Gilbert under center now, inside handoff there, and that one stuffed right in the middle. Eli Anku in there, and Eli Anku, a big 340-pounder, 4 years in the league. Daniel Akwale as well, who appeared in 7 games a year ago for the Browns. Those two in that kind of that second unit on the line alongside Chad Thomas, former 3rd-round pick of the Browns. That second-team line with right now, you got Claiborne out there and Akwale with Anku and Thomas. They've been having a pretty strong day up there working against the Browns. Second-team offensive line, in this case the 3rd team with Gilbert back there in shotgun. Looks out to his right, quick hitter, and it's complete or incomplete. Looking for Dontrell Hilliard, likely short of the goal line there. But these defensive linemen, they have had a good few days in camp, and I think this is a great opportunity as a player, Josh. When you get the day off, do you go back, you watch your tape, kind of reset everything, talk with your position coach, and get ready to come back and really – Saturday's like a moving day, right? That's where you get a chance. They're going to maybe make some changes here as they have the 2 days to watch tape, and then Saturday you want to come back and make that real strong impression.
Definitely. You want to string those weeks along, and at the end of the week, you look back at that whole week of practice and see where you stand as a player.
Nice cut from D'Ernest Johnson there, the change of direction. That's that little jump cut, a little Shady McCoy from D'Ernest. And that's one where the coach will say, okay, he made something out of nothing there, getting back out to the left side and getting into the end zone. The teammates giving Dearness some accolades, and he's a guy that I really like. Got a chance to talk to him. A guy thought that maybe, his football dreams had come to an end. He was in, one of the other leagues, the AAFL last year, and then ends up with the Browns when that kind of folds, along with Garrett Gilbert and some other guys who ended up making this team, making this league. And Dearness Johnson, just a cool story, hard worker, a guy who thought, his football career was done, was working on a fishing boat, taking people out and helping them fish. And here he is back in the mix, as you see Alex Van Pelt there talking with his quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Van Pelt been the one with the walkie-talkie relaying those plays in as Baker looking to get in there, but apparently it is not his turn right now. In the hoodie today. It's a little hot for the hoodie, but we're seeing a lot of the Browns players today in that hoodie. Hoop there in the long sleeves, which has been his trademark every day so far at camp.
Yeah, you see a lot of them in the hoodies because they have to take the necessary reps, and then they come to the sideline and they take a seat. They either, just kind of stand there, and that hoodie helps keep them warm. So every time they step out there, their body and their muscles are still warmed up. They're still hot, ready, and able to go.
And we've seen some of this today. The second-team offense against the first-team defense, first-team offense against the second-team defense, as it looks like Dearness Johnson to get a nice run off the left side there. Jacob Phillips working alongside Taki and B.J. Goodson as the three linebackers that the Browns had on the field on that one.
I like Dearness, man.
I do too.
The shiftiness, the ability to change direction. I told you that's what he had over Dontrell Hilliard, and I don't want to pin these guys apart because of Dontrell's experience and his ability to make plays when he has an opportunity. But guys like Dearness Johnson, this is the preseason right here. Not being able to play the preseason hurts guys like him.
There's no doubt about it. And he had a great preseason last year that helped him get there. Case and the offense not on the same page, and they'll redo that play. And you're seeing Donovan Peoples-Jones and Hollywood Higgins out there with David Njoku getting some good work here with the second team and Case Keenum, and good work against the Browns' first-team defense. And I'll tell you what, Josh, when I was talking about it being hot, Harrison Bryant checks into the huddle now for the Browns. The fullback checks out as they go with the two tight ends, something you'll see a lot in this Kevin Stefanski offense. Njoku and Bryant. You've got Peoples-Jones and Higgins, and I'm excited to see what they do here. Out of the shotgun with Dearness Johnson to his left. Keenum dropping back. A little screen play. Good job getting the blockers out in front. Dearness sets him up, and that's one where if he gets through that crease, that has a chance to be a big play. And as I said before, not only can he run it, catch it, and Olivier Vernon thought he got the ball out there. He took Dearness to ground, but didn't get the ball out.
Oh, yeah, I like how the running backs as a whole, everybody who carrying the football, you see them conscious of the football. They're making sure that ball security is a priority. And then on the other end of that, every defender out there is still trying to poke the ball out, looking for an opportunity just to poke that ball out to get some good film, but also work on the possession of the football.
Keenum now in the shotgun again. The Browns working the whole field, not in the red zone here. Quick hitter out to the left, throw is high and behind. Hollywood Higgins, Greedy Williams with good coverage on the outside there. Anderson Dejo giving chase as well. You see Sione Taki there in the screen. And for Hollywood, it seems like so far, for whatever reason, when he's open, the balls haven't been on target. So perhaps the timing a little bit off between Hollywood and Case Keenum, two guys who have not worked together before.
Yes, and you definitely see the timing was off. I still want him to catch that. I'm tough on him, and if you talk to him, he'll know, man, I still got to catch that. And he's capable of things like that. So I want him to go ahead and do it.
I don't know if that was on. It looked like a little false start on the center, Evan Brown. You see him saying, I got to do better than that. Jordan Elliott was right there as soon as that move happened. Teammates saying, don't worry about it, Willie Wright, the undrafted free agent from last year out of Tulsa, and Brown is going to check out after that. As Kevin Stefanski saying, look, we're not going to have these kind of mental mistakes. 5 yards, that's too much to give up. That's 50% of what we're trying to accomplish. Trying to get 10, we can't have that. And he's out there, and into the game now. You got Dunn at center. What do you think about that when the coach do that? I like that. They're setting. They say we have a standard. Period.
When the coaches give any type of input, the players listen, and they've been really taking a hold of everything Coach Stefanski has put in place, especially all the fun things he does for this football team. They want to make sure that those fun things keep happening. So when he makes a point to make an adjustment. They really listen to him, especially how they've been listening to him when it comes to ball security, when it comes to just practicing fast,
Sure.
the mental aspect of the game, playing fast, playing healthy outside of pads. Even when pads was on the other day, that's why the injuries were kind of plaguing his team, and he was kind of upset because they've talked about this, keeping each other healthy.
Absolutely. By the way, on that last play, heck of a cutback and some real nice explosion from Benny LeMay as Keenum drops back in the shotgun and just out wide looking for JoJo Nats in there. But Benny LeMay is interesting to me because he is built differently than either D'Ernest Johnson or Dontrell Hilliard. He's a little bit of a bigger back. He was a guy who made his name in college football as more of a runner, all-time leading rusher in Charlotte history, over 3,000 yards rushing, 28 total touchdowns, second most in FBS history. So he's an interesting guy, and typically he would get a ton of work in the preseason. He's not, but at 5'8", 220, more of a runner, I wonder if he's a guy that could actually play his way onto this roster as another runner, or somebody certainly that the Browns would want to keep around on that practice squad because he's different than D'Ernest and Dontrell Hilliard. I almost see D'Ernest and Dontrell competing for perhaps one spot. I see Kareem Hunt, another nice cutback, and he just has looked so fast
and so effortless. When
so.
you see him make the moves and the cuts and hit the hole right there, you see that promise brewing. You see the promise brewing within the offense. But back to what you just said, definitely, when you see guys that have that potential, then you see the strategicness of your general managers in hiding that player, trying to put him on the practice squad to develop him more, trying to say, okay, I see his ability. Let me hold him out of practice a little bit. He's going to be good. I don't want nobody else to see him.
Right, well, the good news this year, you don't have to worry about other people really seeing him because as Baker launches one deep down the field, and it is
touchdown,
caught.
baby.
Odell Beckham Jr. in double coverage. This has been a day of Odell, and that's why you say, why is he throwing in double coverage? Because Odell Beckham Jr. can do things like that. And I don't know if we want to run it back, but I think we have another play of the day. Let's run it back. Why not? We love University Hospitals. It is another University Hospitals play of the day. Baker heaving it. Great coverage. Red wine. Olumbo. But there is Odell Beckham Jr. Baker, a little pressure, stepping up in the pocket, letting it rip. And Odell Beckham Jr., every day that he has been here, he's showing up. He's making plays. Another Browns Live play of the day. So nice. We had to do it twice, John.
Yes, so nice.
Odell
we had to do it
Beckham.
twice. I want you guys to know out there, this is just a Thursday for Odell. Those big-time plays like that, he's supposed to make, and he's doing it here today. And that's why it's a good practice, because he's doing the things necessary that he's supposed to do.
And there's another nice little hole for Kareem Hunt. He says, you guys weren't stopping me. I'm all the way to the house there as that stretch play right, put his foot in the ground and got north-south very quickly. And again, pads not on. Totally different experience, but nonetheless, for your offense today, definitely a nice comeback. And Odell Beckham Jr. putting on a show for the second time in as many days as he's been in the team periods. He wasn't in the team portions yesterday. That was part of their plan for him. He was in today, and his presence was felt. And I'll say it again. Baker Mayfield, when he has Odell, when he has Jarvis, and he has that man Austin Hooper on the field, he has been very effective. Austin Hooper, again, nice little catch there. That trio, because you're saying, who's the third receiver? Yes, you're going to have a third receiver. He might end up with 200, 300, 400 yards. Those three guys are going to be doing the majority of your receiving along with some of the running backs out of the backfield. But they look good. And Odell, man, what a day for Mr. Beckham.
Yes, and I want to play devil's advocate. I want it only because this is a team. They're both sides of the football, offense and defense, is getting ready to play that game one. They shouldn't have let in a double coverage. This defense, this secondary that we talk so highly about, they can't allow that. I don't care who it is, Odell, Jarvis, 2 against 2, they're going to get ripped when they go in there. This defense should have not allowed that. I know how good Odell is, but they shouldn't happen. It still shouldn't happen.
Quick throw out and good catch by David Njoku on a ball that was high to the outside with a little bit of mustard. Did a good job hauling that one in. And I tell you, if his hands can get to the point where he's very consistent catching the football, his athleticism allows him to be open all the time. And that one will wrap up that potential team period there for the Browns. Get probably into another special teams period and then wrap this thing up. But a good day for the offense, beautiful weather, and
so far, things are looking good.
Definitely.
Right now, we don't know of anything bad, right? We were worried about, let's get through a day without any injuries, and so far it has been a good day on that front for the Browns. The NFL Draft, it's coming to Cleveland, coming to the land next year, and that's going to take place downtown Cleveland, April the 29th through May the 1st of 2021. For more information, see the website there on your screen. Visit rocktheclockcle.com. Look at a former first-round pick, Odell Beckham Jr., who continues to put on a show here in Berea. And we'll be back with more Browns Live training camp presented by Snapple right after this.
Snapple apple tastes like apple.
And we dance the same too. And 1 and 2, shake down, stomp. Put it in the basket.
Now let's cobbler.
And cobbler. And cobbler.
Tastes just like fruit, but Snapple. Tastes like a perfect peach. It keeps on peaching. Tastes just like fruit, but Snapple.
At Union Home Mortgage, we're committed to your goals. Whether it's a cash-out refinance to cover the cost of her college tuition, more room for new memories to grow, or to buy a home for the very first time. Whatever your goal, what matters to you matters to us too. And we promise, we won't stop working until you get there. Make your dream a reality with Union Home Mortgage. Promises kept.
Now there is a sight for sore eyes. Myles Garrett out here going through individual work today, which means perhaps we can see him on Saturday. That is our photo of the day. Myles Garrett hitting the sled, brought to you by Medical Mutual. And that photo taken by our very own Matt Starkey. And I'm hoping on Saturday perhaps we see Myles Garrett get back into the mix. Perhaps we see Larry Ogunjobi back into the mix. Maybe even Nick Chubb as he's progressing nicely. We heard Kevin Stefanski say earlier today that he is participating in all the meetings, not having any concussion symptoms. So now in the protocols, get through some physical activity, get cleared by the independent neurologist, and be ready to resume football activity.
One guy I'm looking forward to getting back out there is the Nick Chubb. To see Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both in the backfield at the same time, I kind of want to see the preview of how Coach Stefanski will utilize both talents at the same time. Usually you'll see both of them in practice, kind of take their own reps. Kareem Hunt been getting some balls downhill, some handoffs. I want to see them both on the field at the same time. I want to see what we got.
I do as well, and hopefully we'll get to see that soon, because that's going to be a nightmare for opposing defenses, but a very good thing for the Cleveland Browns. We told you the show always all about you. Let's get your questions in. Hashtag Browns Live. The Lincolnator 55. Do you believe Teller is the guy at right guard? It's really the last piece we need solidified on the offensive line.
We need to see more of him in pads. I know it's still early, so we can't really say based off of just practice. Everybody mental-wise, he's where he's supposed to be. He's making the proper reads. There's nothing being said about the offensive line up front, which is a good thing, but you still want to see these guys more in pads against good guys, against an Ogunjobi. That's why we want to see these guys get back out there against Myles Garrett. We want to see what happens in the transition and in the trenches with pads on.
You certainly do, as you get a look at Wyatt Teller there, who started the final 9 games of the year for the Browns at right guard. He's got 16 starts in his career, and he's entering only his 3rd season. So he's played for the Bills, also for the Browns, and he's a very athletic guy. And he told me back in his pre-draft process, actually spent a lot of time with Bill Callahan when Callahan was with the Redskins. They brought him in for a visit, so had a good relationship with him then, and is very excited to work with him now. And I think Wyatt Teller is the guy. I do think he is going to be your right tackle, as you saw him working with Scott Peters, the assistant offensive line coach there. Very athletic, and that suits this scheme. You go back and watch that play where he did kind of a karate roll and got a block against the New England Patriots, so you know he is light on his feet. Let's go get another fan question in here for Browns Live from Sabby Tabby. It says, how is Jacob Phillips looking in coverage? It's early. Does Phillips seem to be able to fill the void created by Mack Wilson's injury?
Well, when you've been looking at Mack's injury, you look at a guy like Goodson, and you see who has stepped up, who has replaced him, who is shining on that side. And again, I want to see these guys, I want to see the defense more in pads to see if we got that type of influence from the linebackers like we should. I've been wanting to see more of Taki to see, can he fill that role? Can he step up? Will they call his name more? So it's not just one guy that I'm looking for. I'm looking at them as a group of who will replace Wilson this season.
I think you're right about it, and I think it's a group that does include Jacob Phillips. It's a group that includes Sione Taki, number 55, Tay Davis as well. Goodson is going to be the starter. We know that. Alongside of him, I think Taki right now probably has the inside track. He's got a year of NFL experience under his belt, and he's looked good out there. I mean, he's been around not only in coverage in the run, but Phillips, again, we know he can play. Jason Tarver says we know about his run fits. We know about the physicality. He loves to hit. He loves to run around. It's teaching him some of the nuance of the NFL game.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it seem as though, Wilson is completely done. But when you look at the linebacker core, we've always talked about injuries going to happen, the next man up mentality, but who can fill that void? And if you see all the talent on this team around the whole team, if I had to pick a weakness, it'd be the linebacking group. If I had to.
It's the most unproven. And I think it's fair. And now you're down a guy that you were counting on to be a big part of your defense, and it's going to be on other guys to step up. But sometimes when you get an opportunity you didn't know you had, guys are able to take advantage of it, and that'll certainly be the case for Sione Taki, Jacob Phillips, and Tay Davis, who has 4 career starts under his belt. This one from Darsh Vader. I see what you did there. Is there any player who has already begun sneaking into first-team reps that has gone unnoticed or is by complete surprise?
Not that I see. I don't see anyone sneaking up.
They're earning it.
They're earning, right. And you do that by being consistent. If you're a wide receiver and you're catching balls from Gilbert, you consistently, right, and that will get him bumped up. All right, let's see him with the twos. Let's see him with Keenan. And if he's still consistent, okay, leave him out there with Baker. Let's just see what happens. And then the consistency shows the playmaking ability during the team periods. Then you will see a guy sneaking. But as of right now, it's still early. That can still happen. We'll keep you updated.
We will. I'll tell you some guys who've been getting first-team reps. Sometimes it's injury, sometimes for other reasons. But Porter Gustin on the defensive side of the ball. Now, he's not going to be a first-teamer when Myles Garrett's back, obviously. Jordan Elliott at defensive tackle with Ogunjobi out. Kaderil Hodge with that third receiver spot. Certainly getting some looks. And MJ Stewart now in for our guy Cover Johnson, getting some work, obviously, in that nickel corner position alongside Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams. Saw Kevin Stefanski there addressing the team. That's it. That will be it for the first week of true Browns training camp here in Brea. The players will be off tomorrow, and then we will have coverage for you again with a special edition of Browns Live this Saturday as the Browns return to work. So, Josh, here we are, first week in the book. I would say today offense certainly bounced back, but we've seen that, and that's what you want to see. A couple days really in the defensive side, a couple days now in the offense's favor as well.
And today was no pads, and you seen the offense come out, make the proper reads as quarterbacks, and throw the ball on time. And when I say on time as far as the quarterback, Baker Mayfield, if you look at his completion percentage, he had a high completion percentage, especially throwing it to Odell Beckham all day long. We're going to take a look at that.
Yeah, let's see
Let's
one of
do
the
it
highlights.
now.
It was one of our plays of the day, and for Odell, the very first offensive play he scored in that 3rd and goal situation. But this was the highlight here. Double coverage. Doesn't matter. Odell Beckham Jr. goes up and gets it between 2 Browns defenders. Mayfield saw it, a little play action fake, stepped up, and then let it rip and said, listen, Odell, I'm going to give you a chance here. Go make a play. Make me look right. And Odell Beckham Jr. did just that, right down to the goal line. We're going to say he's in because it's more fun for that to be a touchdown and we don't get to keep playing. Good job by Austin Hooper there on Taki's blitz. The ball in the air. Odell Beckham goes up, high points it, brings it in. And that was our Browns Live Play of the Day, brought to you by University Hospitals. And I'll tell you, the theme, though, has been offense. When have they been cooking? When Odell, Jarvis, and Hooper have been on the field together. We've seen that on 2 of the days.
Yes, we have.
The days where we've seen it, they were thriving. The days where they weren't out there, we haven't as much. Remember, Jarvis wasn't in on the first day on pads. That was a defensive day. Jarvis wasn't in on the 3rd day in pads. That was a defensive day. Now, the defense did plenty to stand out on their own, but this is a different team with 13, 80, and 81 out there for number 6.
They sure are, and you see the stats don't lie, and we take this practice like it's a preseason game. Odell went 5 catches for 3 TDs, with 2 of them being plays of the day. 5 catches, 3 TDs. That's awesome stats right there. And Odell also had a few blocks. They were in the pass that you guys didn't see, but Hooper 3 catches, 2 TDs, and it goes down the list. Jarvis with a toe touch TD. And I was keeping stats. Like I said, guys, keep stats. If we tell you guys who catches touchdowns, who shows up, the consistency, let it be known that these guys are working hard. And today, like you said, it went to the offense. I'm still searching for that balance between the offense and defense, but you have to give it to the offense side today.
Absolutely. It's good to have those ebbs and those flows here. As we see in the tent, we're going to be joined by Browns second-year kicker Austin Seibert in just a moment. You got to put that headset on, brother. You can wipe it down if you want to do that, or you can put it right on there. There he is. There's our kicker, Austin Seibert, looking resplendent with the bleached blonde locks there. How you doing, brother?
Great. How are you?
We are doing very well. This is our player interview today, brought to you by Snapple. So today was our special teams profile, and we'll obviously spend a lot of time talking about you, our good friend the Hammer, who we hope gets well soon with his undisclosed illness, and Charlie Hewlett. You guys have been, the 3 Musketeers running it back here with Mike Prefer. What's it been like to have that continuity?
It's been good. It's glad to see everyone getting back in here, getting in the swing of things, and just rolling, camp and everything's been great. Just getting as many team reps as possible, and we're smooth like butter right now, so it's good. It's good.
Austin, Josh Cribbs here. I want you guys, because we were highlighting special teams, I want you to talk a little bit about the operation time and the change of a holder. You were 7 for 9, which is pretty good in practice, and Cleveland with this win that people don't always respect the win at our practice facility. But talk about the difference in holder, the operation time, everything that goes into a field goal or PAT.
Yeah, no, it definitely, you get the camaraderie and the rhythm with Charlie and Jamie, and once you get that down, it's easy to come back and just go through those kicks like their game situation or team reps. And then Jamie not being here today, we used Case. It was my first time with Case today, and I thought we did a pretty good job for rolling with Case for the first time ever. I saw him hold a couple today, and then we just rolled in team, and I thought I hit some pretty good balls today, and we'll just go back, get it squared away, and see what we need to improve on. But, yeah, I think today was pretty successful with Case holding. And generally on a field goal, you want your op time no slower than a 1.35 and no faster than really a 1.27. So you try and stay in that sweet range right in there where the rhythm, the tempo, and everything is fine and everyone has enough time to do their job. And then, yeah, kicking up here in Cleveland, you're going to deal with the weather. So it's just more advantage for us to get used to the weather and kick in windier situations, and it's going to make me better. It's going to get me ready for the season, and it's been well. So I'm glad we're dealing with it.
By the way, folks, he was talking about a range that he wants to be in that is 8/100ths of a second. That's a pretty tight range there on that operation. And Austin, last year, 15-15 for you inside of 40 yards, a strong rookie season. What are your goals for yourself here entering your second year?
Goals stay the same for me. I want to do what I can to help this team win. Obviously, go out there and make every single extra point this year. Also, I want to shoot for 100% on field goal percentage. And you got to shoot high, and then on kickoffs, I want to continue to be efficient on kickoffs with hang times, locations, and everything. And I want to have my goal is to have the best kickoff team in the NFL, and we can definitely do that. We just got to keep working hard and stick to what we're learning. And Prefer's got us in good situations and good drills, and I think we're ready, we're hungry, so that's good.
You know what? I love how you laid it out there. You want to have the best kickoff in the NFL.
That's right.
Those are the type of goals that I'm talking about. And, let people know that I've told people that it's not just, you're capable. These kickers and these punters, they're capable, very capable of kicking the ball and doing this. Talk about the mental pressure that you have when, lining up and kicking that ball through the goal and everything that's on the line when you line up to kick it, the mental pressures. Talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, no, so definitely this year I've definitely taken a grasp on the psychological side of football, and I've been reading books, meeting with our psychologist here just to get a grasp of it and just ultimately just conquer the mental game. And it's really hard to conquer the mental game, but we can always strive to work towards conquering it. And I've found myself in those situations with the team and things like that, just very calm, cool, collected, and it should transfer over to game day. But yeah, when you're out there, it's weird. The night before games, you get a little antsy, you get a little nervous, and that's good from a psychological standpoint, because if you're not, then you're not ready.
Right.
But on game days, man, when I go out on the field, it's kind of smooth sailing. It's you're in your own world, it's your moment, and you just have to seize that moment. And when that doesn't happen, that's where the mental aspect comes into play, learning how to just shake that one off and move on to the next one. And that's where putting your team first helps, and just trusting in your abilities, because it's not going to be a sweet day every time you go out there. So you got to make it count when it's supposed to.
Austin, we were showing highlights earlier of a game against Kansas City where Josh had not one but two 100-plus yard kickoff returns for touchdowns, an NFL record. If you were kicking to a guy like Josh, is there any chance the ball lands on the field of play, or are you sending it straight out of the end zone?
Oh, man. Well, it would depend, but I think we could hang it up there and give her a go, because, once again, if you stop him, that's good momentum for our offense and our defense, and if he gets through, then we're probably doing touchbacks the rest of the game. But yeah, I think we'd give it a chance there at the beginning. See how it went.
I like his mentality.
I do too.
He's not saying, "Oh, we know he's the best kick returner." Nah, he's saying we're going to challenge him, and if he shows us, then we're moving on.
Yeah, he also knows he can hit it high and drop it down right there on the line, and he's got his guys to go
hang
cover.
Time and everything.
Yeah. If I do my job, yeah.
Indeed it is. Austin, just from a physical standpoint, coming in with this offseason, a strange one for you, how did you keep your leg in shape, and how are you feeling knowing, hey, you're the only guy here hitting balls, and I've seen them use the jugs machine, so you're not constantly having to kick it off every kickoff. But how are you feeling physically after what, as we all know, has been a very unique offseason?
Yeah, I'm feeling great right now. Legs feeling really fresh. Kicked off pretty well today, so there's a lot of pop behind the ball, and same on field goals. Doing all the recovery aspects here. Katie, our nutritionist, has got me on a pretty good plan. I cut some fat, and I'm feeling really energetic.
Looking
and just
lean,
good.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Yeah, thanks. But, yeah, old Cybert was a little heftier, but yeah, no, it's definitely taking advantage of the nutrition aspect, and then just making sure I'm doing all the recovery protocols. I'm feeling really fresh. So
can you tell us, there was the second to last kick that you booted through? We were estimating, we were very tight. It's very tough to see what yard line you were, about 40, 45.
Shoot. I know our last one was 51. Other than that, I was just kind of in the zone rolling.
All right. I'll say
that's
40.
how I say.
I'll say 45, and in my amateuress, I said, what did I say? That's good for me.
Yeah,
that looked like it was good for me.
I'm telling you, he blacked out. He made the field goal, and then that's all you need to worry about. He's making it.
That's what happens.
Line it up and let it rip.
Let it rip. All right, we have a fan question for you, Austin, as we like our fans to connect with our players here on Browns Live. He said, what's the inspiration? Akron John 25 wants to know, what's the inspiration
motivation behind the new hair?
Oh man, I don't really know. Me and Jamie were like, hey, I bet you I can grow a better mullet than you, and we kind of went along with it. And through Corona, you know, you're getting kind of bored. I was with my cousin who does hair, and I was like, you know what, let's dye it. So we dyed the hair, and people liked it. So I'm keeping it right now. But yeah, the mullet's in full effect, and it's slowly growing. So.
Can you give us a little profile to the side here so we can see the
you
party
can
in
see
the
that.
back? Yeah, there it is.
The party.
The party in the back, business in the front, party in the back.
Right.
Awesome. Great having you on the program. Great seeing you, and looking forward to, obviously, a great season here in 2020.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The great Austin Cyber. Look at him.
Awesome.
What a mullet. Spectacular. Just like this week, we had, a little business up front, a little party in the back. Josh, we've had a good time here, giving you guys all this access on Browns Live. Saturday, we'll be back with a special edition of Browns Live for you here in Berea as the Browns return to work. Josh, before we wrap up the week, final thoughts on everything you saw here this week.
Yeah, it was back and forth for the offense and the defense, but definitely today, outside of pass, the offense shined through, led by Odell Beckham. I'm seeing a lot of tweets saying Odell is back, but so is those tight ends that have been very exciting all through the week, led by Hooper. A lot of consistency over there, and those DBs, they're not out yet. I can't wait to see them the following week.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see those guys bounce back, but it's always a good day when the two plays you're going to remember feature Odell Beckham Jr. and Denzel Ward on the other side, that pick six, because when the stars are shining bright, things are probably going all right. For Josh Cribbs, I'm Nathan Segura saying thanks for being with us all week here again. Back on Saturday, it's Browns Live Training Camp presented by Snapple.